What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It's your boy Adam Perez back once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, an impromptu episode here today, as we were supposed to have this episode on Sunday, now moving to Sunday night for a special San Diego Comic-Con recap for you guys. We had 4 huge days of San Diego Comic-Con. I really wanted to try and go live that Saturday evening to talk a little bit about the MCU panel. Your boy's sick at the moment. If I'm looking a little messed up right now, I'm gonna do my best not to sniffle. I got some tissues here. I'm gonna be clearing my throat. I'll do my best to kind of mute myself from time to time. Your boy is under the weather, but I am coming out on the other side right now. But I wanted to talk some San Diego Comic-Con with you guys because we have a ton to certainly get into today. Because this is in fact sort of like an impromptu episode, it may be a little bit all over the place. I'm probably going to talk about some of the really big things that wind up happening. We do have an honorable mention section, some quick little recaps here and there of some things that wind up dropping during San Diego Comic-Con, but we do have sort of our 6 main topics, but in reality, it may be a little bit all over the place. Your boy is not as organized as he usually is simply because of the fact that he's been a little bit under the weather. So look, as we're going through these topics and talking about everything that happened at San Diego Comic-Con, feel free to chime in. I definitely want to know your guys' opinions. At the end of the day, these are simply just my A-plus opinions, but I always want to know yours. So chime in the comments, give us your thoughts on some of the things that we're talking about. If there's particular topics that we haven't necessarily discussed that you guys want to discuss, feel free to bring it up in the comment section as well. I'll see if I can certainly get to it. I do want to tackle some live viewer questions also by the end of the show, so we probably will go for the full 3 hours, honestly, but it really depends on how your boy is feeling. So we'll see. So again, disclaimer, I am under the weather. I got a bit of a runny nose. I've been blowing it all day, clearing out my throat. So I will do my best to not be too gross for you guys today. It is just myself solo today. Stuart's busy, unfortunately. He wasn't going to be able to join me yesterday either. Indy, I don't believe, was set to make it today. So, I probably should have reached out to some other collaborators. But look, if you guys have YouTube channels, if you want to go ahead and be brought on board, let me know. I have no problem in chiming you guys in for a live chat if you guys want to certainly join me. But I know some of you guys probably left some comments from Saturday or maybe earlier on today. I'm not quite sure. I think you probably left these as of yesterday, but who knows? Let's give some shout outs to people that did leave some thoughts. Also, finally, the official TMNT YouTube channel released 2 first looks of clips of Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, we did get ourselves Tales of the Mutant Ninja Turtles clip. I think one of them might have been the intro for the show itself. We did post the clip itself up on our Facebook page along with TikTok. If you're not following us on TikTok, we're at Hero Report. I'm looking forward to this TMNT animated series, man. I really am. Set to go ahead and drop on Paramount Plus. I'm not quite sure exactly the release date off the top of my head. The animation style feels gritty for sure, and it feels a little choppy. It's not as smooth of an animation as I was certainly expecting it to be. It almost feels like more classic animation, kind of missing some sequences or like brief scenes in it, the way it's kind of choppy in regards to those animation. But the humor is still there. The voice cast is certainly still there. So that definitely helps. But I'm looking forward to it. This is supposed to bridge the gap between TMNT Mutant Mayhem and whatever the upcoming sequel is supposed to be. So, I think Paramount and Nickelodeon and whoever's in charge of TMNT franchise right now is got some hot things currently going on. Ram Jam's in the house. What's up, Ram Jam? Appreciate you coming through. He says they also showed a first look clip at the upcoming SpongeBob spinoff film, Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. Okay, very nice. I definitely missed that panel for sure. I did see the panel reveal for Mark Hamill, set to play the voice of the Flying Dutchman. I did see that clip briefly. I think he even teased what his voice was going to certainly sound like. You did talk a little bit about the Avengers. We'll definitely talk about it. Me, AJ, loves bacon. What's up, boy? Good to see you. He says, you know what time it is. It's morphin time. As always, a nice little call back to our A+ more phenomenal days for sure. But wherever you guys are watching us at, man, feel free to chime in. Like this video. Feel free to share it. Join the discussion. Definitely looking forward to bouncing some of these ideas off of you instead of just being sort of a talking head for today's episode. let's go ahead and actually kick off with our first segment of the day. We got some honorable mentions for you guys. Some things that wind up dropping. Some things that wound up dropping throughout the weekend at some of their panels that I thought should be certainly brought up. First off, we got Marcelino in the house. Appreciate you coming through. He says MK1 has announced that they have a DLC story with Noob Sabat and a gender bent Skeeter and Cyrax. Interesting. Okay. I wonder how people are feeling about that one. Anytime it's like a gender bend, you always figure somebody's going to have some sort of uproar. What else we got here? It's also have a Ghostface, T1000, and Conan as DLC characters. There was something I read somewhere, and maybe I'm tripping. Maybe this was like a rumor or like some sort of prank online. But you bring up the T1000, and it reminded me of Terminator. And I thought I read a rumor somewhere that John Cena might be playing a new Terminator in one of the upcoming Terminator movies. I don't know how real that is, but I did see it on Twitter. So that's my source, bro. Take it as a grain of salt, if you will. Quick honorable mentions for you guys. We got a new poster from Terminator Zero that's set to go ahead and drop August 29th, so literally a month from today. It's going to be an anime series. It looks great, man. It truly does look great. I don't know if they had a Terminator Zero panel at San Diego Comic-Con or not, but they did release that this poster this weekend. It looks like it's kind of coming together, man. I'm actually really excited for that, to be honest with you. What else do we get? Oh, we got ourselves a brand new poster for The Crow, starring Bill Skarsgård. I can never remember his leading lady's name, unfortunately. But they also released a brand new clip too, to go along with this Crow. I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to see it. I'm trying to debate whether or not I want this episode to be able to be monetized or not. We'll see. I may be playing some clips for you guys, maybe minus some of the sound, because I do want it to be kind of interactive. And if there are things that you guys missed, maybe. So if anything, maybe I'll play them during the live. But if for some reason after it populates, and they may put like a copyright on the video itself, and keep us from actually watching some of these things. But if anything, they probably will have me go back and like remove them out of the video itself. So first come, first serve for anybody that's joining us live today. I'm trying to find this clip. Oh, here it is. Let me get my headphones real quick too. So the clip we're about to show is from the Crow movie. They released this during San Diego Comic-Con, so it's not showing anything leaked. I know people feel some type of way about this film, so I wanted to go ahead and highlight this one for you guys. Let's see. I'll keep the audio here. Facebook. How's it looking? We looking good over there? Cool. Let me back up. Just no. Come on, Adam. What you doing, bro? There we go. All right, let's play this. This is a clip from The Crow, an exclusive clip. The movie drops August 23rd. Disclaimer: there is violence. My man's in the SUV. Oh my God! Shot right in the effing face. I do wonder who this lady is. Who is she reaching for? Oh. Whoa. Oh my God. God dang. That looked brutal. Definitely taking inspiration for the first Crow, the idea that this man takes a punishment and a beating, but he got that healing factor like Wolverine and just keeps coming back for his to avenge. Uh. Oh, that's bad. That's bad, bro. You gonna put that back? Oh, okay. Yeah, my man. Yeah, my man tried to put it back himself. Um, a cool first clip, if you ask me. Nice little action piece, honestly, showing you the violence, the fact that this man can really kind of take a beating and get back up. I'm pretty sure we'll probably get another couple of clips before this movie winds up dropping to kind of win certainly some other people over. But we'll see. I'm a big fan of Bill Skarsgård, so we'll see how that winds up working out for them. What else did we get? We got ourselves a new poster here. While we await Daryl Dixon season 2 for The Walking Dead, this certainly has not stopped them from dropping a brand new announcement that season 3 is certainly on the way. I'm not going to show them both, but we did get ourselves, if you're really big into the Walking Dead franchise, we did get ourselves a season 2 trailer for both Daryl Dixon, which is officially titled the Book of Carol, if I'm not mistaken, along with the second trailer for the second season of Dead City as well with Maggie and Negan. So both series certainly coming back for for new seasons. I don't know if they announced a Dead City season 3 yet or not, but Daryl Dixon is definitely getting a season 3 as they wind up having that huge announcement there as well. While Invincible season 3, Invincible certainly had itself a panel here as well. I don't know if they showed any footage or not, but they did show a reveal of and a tease for season 3, showcasing off Invincible's brand new costume. So they did go ahead and showcase an early tease. I'm not quite sure exactly how far into the development of season 3 that they certainly are, if it's almost ready to go with the release date. Somebody inform me in the comment section. I'm not sure when season 3 is set to drop, but this is a brand new early look at Invincible's costume. Did he change to this costume in the comic books? I got to assume so. But nice little color swap out here. Getting rid of the yellow, going with a little bit of some black in here. I don't know if he's becoming a little bit more edgy. I don't know what happened in season 2 to make him want to go ahead and change his costume and his color scheme, but I definitely have to check out season 2 for sure. But not only did they give you a tease about season 3 suit, they also went ahead and announced season 4 is confirmed. So before you even get the opportunity to see season 3, if you're hoping for this series to continue on past it, voila, you have your wish. Season 4 officially confirmed as well. That's not the only thing that was confirmed too for a new season. Season 5, they for Harley Quinn, they went ahead and released that's coming out in November. I think we've had a couple of people, maybe Jessica Friedman in our live viewer questions. She tends to ask questions about Harley Quinn quite often, and I think a couple of weeks ago she might have asked if when season 5 was certainly going to drop. And here is your answer: season 5 coming in November. So definitely look forward to that. DC Animation actually had a pretty good showing at San Diego Comic-Con. Even though DC Studios wasn't present, we did get some interesting announcements overall. So we'll talk about the DC stuff that wind up dropping here this week as well. But I think that might be all of the honorable mentions that we have for you guys today. And again, if there's something that I missed, something that you guys want to talk about that we're not necessarily highlighting here in this week's episode, because there was just so much that certainly happened. Again, feel free to go ahead and let me know your thoughts. And then maybe I'll look up some information and we'll talk about it a little bit. But yeah, wherever you guys are watching this at, hit that like button, man. It really does go a long way. Hit that retweet button, share this video. Let's go ahead and talk some San Diego Comic-Con. So let's go ahead and break this down, man. We're going to get into our main topics for the day. Thank you, everybody who certainly joined us. As you can see at the top of our thumbnail, the biggest and hottest news to certainly come out of San Diego Comic-Con, the return of Robert Downey Jr., baby. I can't say that none of us saw this coming. I think there's been rumors for quite some time that Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. at some point in time would definitely return to the MCU. We certainly just did not know in what fashion. And boy, did they not disappoint in that regards, as they gave us a huge reveal here this week that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing none other than Doctor Doom. And if I'm not mistaken, you know what, maybe I should change the color scheme for today's show to represent. It's a little too bright. Let's go a little darker. Yeah, to represent Doctor Doom, baby. Huge pop at San Diego Comic-Con panel. This was the last bit of information to drop at San Diego Comic-Con that Saturday night at the MCU panel. They did have a huge rundown of some Captain America 4 stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. Fantastic Four as well, and Thunderbolts. I think when they first started it off, they kind of lied to the audience a little bit. They told them that we're only going to highlight 3 movies today. And by the end of the panel, they also highlighted the announcement of 2 new Avenger films and Avengers Doomsday, set to release May 2026, along with Avengers Secret Wars May 2027. And in doing so, they also confirmed the return of the Russo brothers. That's right. It was a rumor that we talked about, them being in negotiations several, maybe last week. I think we might have talked about it last weekend. And they are in fact confirming it here at San Diego Comic-Con that the Russo brothers are coming back to do double duty here, a double header, if you will, similar to what they did with Infinity War and Endgame. I got to assume, if anything, these are probably going to be highly connected, like Infinity War was in regards to leading into Endgame. So I'm really kind of excited for the introduction of both of these. Enrique says Doctor Doom is one of the Marvel villains who appear in comics and animated shows, including Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, he's everywhere. He's a huge villain when it comes to the MCU. You got to put him up there as far as infamous villains go, with the likes of Kang, Thanos. You know, Doctor Doom is no slouch in that regards. You can equally hold him up there as clearly one of the brightest men in the MCU. He just unfortunately uses it for all the bad reasons. So we did get ourselves a huge announcement in regards to that. And in doing so, out comes Robert Downey Jr. He showcased himself in a mask at first, and then eventually walked up to the front and revealed himself, as you see here, and the place went apeshit, y'all. I mean, this place went absolutely bananas, and rightfully so. Robert Downey Jr. is a huge get for this company. To have him certainly come back, especially fresh off of an Oscar win, mind you, in Oppenheimer, the most recent film from last year. So let's not certainly sleep on the capabilities of Robert Downey Jr. as a performer. You know, he talks about, I think he made an announcement in here. He says, new mask, same task. And he says, I thought I told you I love playing complicated characters. And he's definitely going to have his opportunity to do so, as the Russo brothers did emphasize the idea that this is a multiverse story, which I don't think anybody should forget. They have for each year told us this is the multiverse saga, right? We can see some familiar faces. And despite the fact that I have not had the opportunity to see Deadpool and Wolverine, I do believe that another familiar face from the MCU pops up in there as well. So again, very much the idea that people that we have seen before can certainly come back and play the same or different roles in that regards, because again, it's been no secret we are in the multiverse saga at this point in time. They also did hint at, though, the idea, they name dropped him as Victor Von Doom. And I am really fascinated to kind of see what storyline they're going to go ahead and certainly tackle. You know, there was somebody on Twitter the other day, one of the few bright spots of Twitter, I must say, in regards to a positive certain like outlook on the Robert Downey Jr. thing. And I love the fact that they sort of tackle this from a comic book nerd sort of mentality, which is kind of where I'm in as well. This is from Derek Cottingham on Twitter. It's a little bit of a thread. It says, look, Looks like they're doing the Anthony Stark from Earth 11029 Doctor Doom variant adaptation. That'll be interesting. The thing about comic books is there's so much lore to pull from, which is she's absolutely right. I think you look at something like Shala Ball from the Fantastic Four, the female Silver Surfer. They literally handpicked that out from like an Earth X limited series run that probably hardly anybody certainly read or definitely remembered, if you will, right? So Marvel definitely has a huge stack of lore that they can certainly dive into and definitely tackle. She does go ahead and highlight this image of the What If issue of Iron Man Demon in the Armor, I believe it's called. But that is a What If Tony Stark variant that she's referring to in there. She says it's actually such a MCU thing to do. Like I just know someone was like, "Oh my god, I have an idea no one will see coming because our universe's Tony Stark is dead, but he ain't the only variant out there." They introduced it, emphasizing the multiverse possibilities, and well, in the comics, on another Earth, he has been Doctor Doom before. She says, I'm probably the only comic book nerd that does not hate multiversal theory. I'm personally not a big fan of it personally, but it's as common as the air we breathe. It doesn't anger me because I haven't seen the execution of the film yet. But from a marketing standpoint, you know, folks will eat this up. She says, average person doesn't know that he's doomed, though. She says, another option I agree with as well. I thought of Demon in the Armor because Disney has done what if variants before, and I could see a researcher presenting that idea as a big plot twist since he's dead in the MCU. But either way, definitely giving multiverse Tony. Um, she says, based on that, how the MCU has handled the multiverse before, I can see them pulling from multiple Tony Stark, Doctor Doom variants. There's more than one where he is also Victor Von Doom. So it's not necessarily just the case of, hey, this guy is just going to be Victor. I mean, he certainly could be. He certainly could be a Victor Von Doom in another MCU with just another story being told, with Doctor Doom's face sort of being scarred. You technically would get a visually different sort of Tony Stark under that mask, or a visually different Robert Downey Jr. to certainly separate him from our Tony Stark, if you will. But there is something about the idea that, look, Marvel does have a ton of lore that they can certainly dive into. I don't necessarily know the story in which they're going to be adapting, or if they're taking several of those stories and merging them all into one and presenting us with something. But I personally find the possibilities just absolutely endless in here. I will say this. A couple things make me positive about this. I don't, I don't want to say positive that's absolutely going to work, but the idea that I'm kind of on board with it. One, we're bringing back the Russos. And while I personally have not enjoyed the work that they've done outside of the MCU, when Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers work together, it's gold each and every time. Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. I mean, billion-dollar films in their own right. Although I don't know if Winter Soldier made $1 billion or not, but a lot of billion-dollar films with them in tow. So they get this universe. They're very used to working with the idea of huge ensemble casts to go ahead and balance out everybody getting the perfect amount of time that they absolutely need. And they've worked with Robert Downey Jr. before, and especially fresh off of the idea of winning an Oscar. I see some people say, oh, this is a desperation act, or this is just like a cash grab sort of thing. I don't necessarily know if Robert Downey Jr. at this point in his career would just put his name onto anything that wasn't compelling enough. I don't. He doesn't fit me as that type of guy, especially fresh off of an Oscar win. And I do think the idea of the writer's strike and the actor's strike probably played very beneficial for Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers. Maybe the opportunity to kind of sit back, reevaluate the idea of where they find themselves at, with normal audiences not being that fond of the Kang the Conqueror storyline. On top of that, you got Jonathan Majors and all sorts of problems and issues that they need to sort of erase and kind of move on. And so, is this sort of a desperation thing? Yeah, I do think it's a level of desperation. I mean, just look at the situation that Marvel Studios finds themselves in just leading up to the writer's strike. And then on top of the idea that a lot of fans, or at least you go on social media, haven't necessarily been super impressed with Phase 4's work. and have been asking for them to certainly get better. So, their back is sort of up against the wall. The idea of desperation is very much a real thing, but it doesn't mean that desperation automatically equals a cash grab, or that desperation is necessarily a bad thing, that you can't spend that time to sit back and truly evaluate where you are and come up with a storyline that will actually work at the end of the day. And I think when you bring somebody in like the Russo brothers that's familiar with this world, the fantastic Marvel comic books lore that you can certainly pull from, I think they're going to answer a lot of questions. What happened with Kang? Is Doctor Doom a part of what happens with Kang at the end of the day? Is Doctor Doom going to pop up in Fantastic Four? Will we have another Victor Von Doom at some point in time that we see in another multiverse? Who knows? But I have a feeling that they are going to answer all those questions, and I think the fact that they um, are bringing back Tony Stark. One, he is a fan favorite. People absolutely loved him. Watching all the phases, we have become sort of emotionally attached as viewers. And I think the general audience, again, not the world of Twitter, because Twitter is not a real place. It's probably one of the most negative places you could possibly hang out and get certain points of view from. So I never really consider what a lot of people on Twitter are saying as how the general audience is certainly going to enjoy Robert Downey Jr. certainly coming back, because I do think the idea that he has that physical or that emotional connection to the audience when they see him return in a different form, and this time a villain, we as an audience will certainly have an emotional reaction to it. One that's probably even bigger for the superheroes themselves that will eventually come to find out that it is in fact Tony Stark. People talk about the how Peter Parker is going to respond to it, sort of thing. Thor, Doctor Strange. I mean, there's a plethora of characters. Pepper Potts, if she winds up popping back up in here, right? Like, there's a plethora of characters that I personally feel emotionally invested in, that I kind of would like to see how that turns out. And I don't view it as ruining the legacy that you've left behind for Tony Stark. Tony Stark played his role. He is the savior. He helped the MCU. He is now going to have a completely different story as Robert Downey Jr. to certainly play here. And I trust the Russos. I trust Kevin Feige to have taken that time from the actors and writer strikes to make sense of the comic book lore that they have and utilize it to really build off of what they have kind of already established. I heard somebody say on TikTok that it feels like it's a regression, and I don't necessarily believe that. I do think it could potentially be a building block for storylines that you've kind of already set in place. It really just depends on where your first particular mindset is going to be in regards to this news. Are you going to be pessimistic about it first and then eventually come around? Are you going to jump into it with an enthusiastic mindset and then maybe fall back to, I don't know if this is a good idea? Or are you going to kind of be in the middle and be kind of open-minded about it? Because when I think, again, I hear cash grab, I hear desperation thrown out a lot. Again, desperation doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. One of the analogies I gave, I did a live on Instagram yesterday. One of the analogies I gave was a sports analogy, right? A Hail Mary in football is a desperation act. Does it work out all the time? Absolutely not. But could you be heavily rewarded if you execute it and it makes sense and it works? Absolutely. Because if homeboy catches that touchdown, you're celebrating, am I right? And nobody's questioning certainly your decision. So I get the hesitancy, but I also appreciate those that are hesitant and are open-minded about it. People that are just coming out and attacking this is like, this is weak, this is poor, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't know if you're looking deep enough. And I guess maybe it's just my mentality and my mindset that I have growing up as a comic book fan from the age of like 7 and 8. Like, I literally remember going to the bodega with my grandfather, checking out the comic book store rack, with all the spinning rack, and finding my first issue of classic X-Men, talking about the Dark Phoenix saga, and I was hooked ever since then. Like, to this day, 2024, I'm still thrilled and appreciative of the idea that these comic books I read growing up as a kid are actually on the big screen. Like I literally never thought that that would happen in my freaking lifetime. And the fact that I get to opportunity to enjoy these characters on the big screen performed by incredible actors, I think I just have a different mentality in the sense of there's just so much lore that they can certainly tap into and certainly make work that some people may not necessarily be familiar with. And so, hopefully it's my duty and my job to certainly get people used to the idea that this has happened in the comic books plenty of times. As much as I hate the multiverse, and I have not really cared so much for the multiverse saga, I do think that there are opportunities where you can truly make it work at times. So I'm all on board with this, man. I'm going to give them the opportunity to prove themselves. I think that they've had the time to sit back and really reshape this world that they want in the next couple of phases here. And I think they got something special in a Oscar winner and Robert Downey Jr. that gets to play another complicated character. So sign me up, man. Sign me up. I'm completely on board with this, to be honest with you. I do want to hear some of your guys' thoughts, though. We'll talk a little bit more about this, but I do want to get some of your guys' thoughts. I personally have gotten fatigued of guest characters because I think that they take up space. I think you're talking about the MK Mortal Kombat stuff. RDG as Doctor Doom has caused a backlash saying Marvel's creatively bankrupt and is trying to win back the fans. And look, it's far from creatively bankrupt, if you ask me. I do think that this is it a pivot? Absolutely. Did they have to pivot? Absolutely. Could they have gone other ways? Yes. But I do think the fact that when did trying to win back fans become a bad thing? Like, right? Like people that ask Marvel Studios, please do something, win us back. And then when they bring out Robert Downey Jr. to bring back fans, why are you trying to win back fans? Like, please, the hypocrisy is unreal to me, bro. Like people continue to move the goalposts each and every time when they get what they want. And at the end of the day, that's why this is why I always say, if you're a creator, create what you want. I know people say, oh, you should create for the fans and for the fans only. I'm sorry. The fans 9 times out of 10 truly do not know what they want, because when they do get what they want, they complain and they bitch about it still, right? Like you're still going to have people that are unhappy regardless. So no, I don't find it creatively bankrupt. In fact, I find this as a creative treasure trove. The idea that you've got years of Marvel comic books lore that you can open up and find alternative routes to the Kang the Conqueror story. How can we make Tony Stark come back or have Robert Downey Jr. play this role? Is he my first choice? Absolutely not. Like I had other people. Hell, I wanted Keanu Reeves as Dr. Doom, there are a couple other Mads Mikkelsen as Dr. Doom. Like there's a plenty of other actors out there, but am I going to be mad at bringing back an Oscar winner who's one of our best actors in the world right now? No. So like, I don't get where people are complaining about it. It's not creatively bankrupt. I mean, look, we'll have to see if the execution of it is bad. Then in hindsight, we can look back and be like, yeah, that was creatively bankrupt. But just to assume that, I think is childish. And the idea of winning back fans, yeah, duh. Like that's what you want to do, is it not? People thought it was a missed opportunity for RGZ to play a variant of Superior Iron Man. I mean, teach their own. Would it have been cool? Yeah, I would have loved to have seen it. I think we were teased and thought it was going to happen in Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness, but it didn't happen. But if you ask me, do I want Superior Iron Man or him to play Doctor Doom? I'll take Doctor Doom for sure. Butts Unplugged. What's up, man? Good to see you. Hello from the UK. All right, international superstar over there. Appreciate you coming through. Billy, what's up, Billy? Hey, Adam, I hope you are feeling better. I'm excited to see Tom Holland, Peter Parker reaction to Tony Stark as possible Doctor Doom variant. Yeah, I'm really fascinated to kind of see how that's going to turn out. Blossom, what's up, Blossom? I appreciate it. Marcelino says, why don't you like multiversal theory? I thought you loved theorizing on a lot of things. I do. I just don't know if I've enjoyed the execution of it or it playing such a huge role in almost like every movie that we've gotten. To me, I don't know. I think Doctor Doom, Multiverse of Madness left a bad taste in my mouth in regards to like cameos, utilizing the multiverse to literally just kill off people, just be like, oh look, like it just felt out of place for me at times. So And I think I said this before. I have maybe like 2 or 3 multiverse stories left in me. That's probably Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's probably the 2 Avenger films. Outside of that, like I don't, if it's gonna deal with multiverse, that's fine. I just don't need it super over the top. But you're right, I do enjoy theorizing about it. Butts Unplugged says, I would like to see more less well known characters in the MCU, and you might actually have that in something like the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts will definitely focus on that. I think they're going to possibly introduce Sentry, which a lot of people aren't really too well versed in. You're playing around with like Ghost, Taskmaster, Red Guardian. Even though we've seen them before on the big screen, they're going to have a little bit more focus on their own. So if anything, I do think you'll get your wish, Butts Unplugged for sure. Marcino says, I heard the reason why they didn't recast Kang was because something in the contract that Disney said that Jonathan Majors would be the only one to play Kang and no one else. I don't know if that's true. Interesting. That is interesting. Maybe that is in the contract. I have no idea though. I haven't heard about that, but I'm glad that you brought that up. Trey Bone, what's up, Trey Bone? Bone, 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 bone. Now tell me what you're gonna do when it ain't nowhere to. Okay. I honestly believe that this was the plan from the start, but it just got bumped up because of Jonathan Major's situation. I love this decision, especially because it's the multiverse. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay. I don't know if that's true or not, Trey, but I'm also not gonna say that's not a possibility. And I say this for the reason of, when I think of Avengers Secret Wars, it feels very much like they have been heavily hinting at the use of Jonathan Hickman's most recent Secret Wars run. And if that's the case, it is very heavily influenced by Doctor Doom. And so the idea of them having an Avengers film that leads up to it called Kang Dynasty, it almost feels more natural. Well, it probably honestly probably could have worked either way, but it feels like this is now sort of the launching point of that story as to how Doctor Doom gets involved in this. Like, I do wonder if Fantastic Four was originally supposed to go ahead and kickstart it, and then maybe we see him later on. But I do think it works to Marvel's benefit to really build more into this Doctor Doom character and give us an opportunity to see more of him before we even get to something like Secret Wars, so that maybe it doesn't feel so rushed and they have time to really build up this character in a situation that they find themselves in. So, Treybone, it would not surprise me if this was the plan from the start, but it was just a more truncated version. And now that they have decided not to do the Kang Dynasty, now it's like, okay, maybe we should really kind of explore this a little bit more. So I'm not going to put it past you. I'm not going to put it past you. Trayvon says, see you at the crossroads, so you won't be lonely. Yeah, man, I love Bone Thugs and Harmony. I don't know if that's where you got your name from, Traybone, but that's what it reminded me of. So look, I'm not as down on people about the Robert Downey Jr. stuff as other people are. I don't think it's creatively bankrupt at all. I don't think this is pandering to the fans. Is it desperation? Probably, but I don't think that level of desperation is as bad as people want to use that word. I think this is an idea of, we really need to swing for the fences now. Let's come up with a really brilliant story that would work, that would build off of Robert Downey Jr. and his legacy. He gave us one of the best heroes in the MCU. Who's to say that he's not about to floor us and give us one of the best villains in the MCU? So yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And he also revealed some really cool photos. I'm assuming this is probably before the announcement of him being in the car, probably like in the back of San Diego Comic-Con, so like nobody sees this man. He probably put the mask on in the car and then stepped out wearing the mask. But I think visually this is just a really cool sight. And again, as somebody that reads comic books and realizing just like the back and forth that Doctor Doom and Iron Man have had over the years, I don't know. There's just something about it that just seems really fitting to me. And again, I don't think that this is creatively cheap at all. I think they've got plenty to certainly pull from. Um, there are, let's see here. I did pull up an IGN. Let me pull up a article here too from IGN that talks a little bit about it. Man, this whole SDCC might just be Marvel related at this point. Let me go ahead and pull this up too. This is why Robert Downey Jr. cast as Doctor Doom. There are versions of Doctor Doom in a multiverse story who are actually Tony Stark. He says it's also worth pointing out that there are versions of Doctor Doom in the multiverse who are actually Tony Stark. One is Iron Maniac. A version of Tony Stark introduced back in 2024's Marvel Team Up. Another is featured in the What If Demon in an Armor, which we showed the photo of. In this world, Victor Von Doom swaps bodies with Tony Stark in college. Trapped in his rival's body, Tony swears revenge and begins a year-long quest to destroy Doom's Stark University company. It says one of the possibilities is Downey is simply playing a new MCU role, independent of any connection to Tony Stark. Don't forget that Doom is well known for never taking off his mask, whether because he can or simply won't is part of his mystique. Depending on how over the top Downey's performance is, the movies may simply be able to ignore the fact that the guy underneath Doom's armor looks and sounds an awful like Tony Stark. If Downey proved anything in his performance from 1992's Chaplin and Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes movies, is that he can really transform with the right accent, right? So the idea that, look, we may not see him even under the mask until maybe a huge reveal. Look, my thing is, if there will be a huge reveal, like I just cannot imagine there not being a huge reveal, especially when it's Robert Downey Jr. coming back, and I think it's going to really trip some people out. So yeah, I think there's plenty of opportunities. Um, yeah, he says, imagine how the world is going to react when they see he has Tony's face. Everyone loves Iron Man because of his sacrifice, but the world's seeing him trying to destroy it. Chef's kiss. Yeah, it's brilliant. I think it's a really great sort of full circle, if you ask me, if they execute it right. But that will be what it comes down to, is certainly the execution of it all. So we'll see, y'all. We'll see. But Avengers Doomsday, May 26th, along with Avengers Secret Wars, May 2027. We also do have, I'm going to talk a little bit about Captain America here in Fantastic Four. But we also do have D23, the Disney Fan Expo, that's going to be happening in August. So it's just several weeks away. I definitely expected San Diego Comic-Con to do more of the movies. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a rollout of some of the Disney Plus shows like Agatha, A Better Look, first trailer of Daredevil Born Again, and maybe a first look glimpse at things like Ironheart and Wonder Man. And then I'm hoping some level of a timeline presented to us as to when we can expect some of these films. I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on the timeline, because I think they definitely want to keep in their minds some level of flexibility, because they did say they wanted to kind of pull back to like 4 to 5 things a year, if possible, maybe less than that, maybe about 4 things a year, 5 at the absolute most. So I don't know if they want to necessarily lock themselves down in a timeline as of yet, but I do expect D23 to be very Disney Plus television show heavy. But yeah, guys, let me know some of your thoughts in the comment section box below. If you're just now joining us, about the RDJ reveal as Doctor Doom. Are you for it? Are you against it? Let us know. We did also have Captain America 4 is actually what kicked off the show itself. We did get ourselves a brand new trailer at San Diego Comic-Con, even though they didn't reveal it to the general public. So unfortunately, I don't have anything necessarily to show you from it. But this is some of the things that they talked about in here. It says new Captain America footage teases Red Hulk, government acquisition of adamantium, and more. That's right, man. Adamantium is officially a thing. They also introduced Giancarlo Esposito as the villain Sidewinder. The actor referred to himself as the king of the Serpent Society. It's so interesting. We have been theorizing for quite some time who he potentially might play. Give me 1 second, y'all. who he potentially might play. I think we had like George Washington Bridge picked out. There were a couple others that I think some people were theorizing, and he kept saying the entire time, like, I don't think anybody has figured out who I'm playing yet. And he was right. I did not expect Sidewinder in here. I thought the idea of Serpent Society was completely cut out of this movie, but he's still there. He's still in there. So he is playing Sidewinder. It says the clip opens with a speech from a historic evening at the White House from President Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. It says, oh, this is the quote from the movie. Okay, he says, when a celestial mass emerged in the Indian Ocean, we did what we often do. We squabbled over it. Countries rushed in to claim it as their own, setting up research facilities to exploit its resources. So they're finally addressing the big ass celestial sticking out of the earth from the Eternals. But the truth is, this new element belongs to all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you adamantium. It's in a secure location, and we have our own Captain America to thank for that. So that's interesting, man. It's interesting, especially when you combine that with the idea that in the trailer, Thaddeus Ross asks him, hey, I really want you to consider making Captain America part of the military again. And, I didn't necessarily know how Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson will respond to that. But the fact that Ross is congratulating Captain America for acquiring sort of this adamantium, it does make me wonder if he either sent him on a mission to do this, if he's the one that gave the speech, like, hey, we can all utilize this type of stuff, and he got a portion for the United States. Who certainly knows? But adamantium is very much a real thing now in the MCU, thanks to the Celestials. There's also a line in here, Ross talking to Sam Wilson. He says, we haven't always agreed in the past, but what you've accomplished has made me reconsider. So yeah, clearly him acquiring maybe the adamantium is making Ross reconsider how he looks at it. Is why I want you to help me rebuild the Avengers. The country needs this. Work with me, Sam. We'll show the world a better way forward. It says the footage also shows a new look at the Red Hulk. I heard somewhere that he transforms as the Red Hulk in front of the presidential podium. So I don't know if he's given a speech to the world, if he's given a presser outside of the White House that's publicly televised. I don't know, but the idea of him transforming into Red Hulk, it does make me wonder, is this something that Thaddeus Ross himself is activating, or somebody else sort of pulling the strings in regards to our Red Hulk? Maybe that's where the leader kind of comes into play here. So they're really setting up a lot of great things that can work moving forward in the MCU. Brave New World watches as Sam Wilson is recruited by a newly elected President Ross to fill the captain vacancy post Chris Evans, Steve Rogers. So yeah, a lot to definitely look forward to. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in addition to the footage. Okay, it looks like some of the other cast members came out on stage for them to. Oh yeah, so that's what we got from Captain America. I think that's pretty badass. Hopefully they'll release the actual footage of it sooner rather than later. Oh, Trayvon says I can see them using PIM particles to shrink down a celestial. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how they're gonna do that. Or he could be extorting Cap using his name because the country loves him and probably doesn't like the president. Yeah, it could easily be that for sure. That would not surprise me at all. Sorry, I'm trying to see. I want to talk about Thunderbolts next. There were a couple things that came out of the Thunderbolts. Some interviews, I think specifically. I don't think their section was very long, honestly. They did show some footage though, and some stunt work. According to them, it says Thunderbolts is smashing its way into the MCU with a ragtag. Some early footage of the film shows Yelena facing off against Ghost and John Walker, the U.S. agent, while dealing with some personal demons. Whether or not Alexei, the Red Guardian, can help her remains to be seen. And they just kind of give an announcement. I did see an interview though with Florence Pugh, where she talks about she did one of her biggest stunts in here, and it was jumping off of the second tallest building in the world, which is pretty bananas. That sounds like some fucking Tom Cruise stuff, honestly. We do have some clips from some interviews that they gave sort of post the panel itself. Let's go ahead and dive into some of these. Comicbook.com, Thunderbolts fundamentally changes the MCU. It says they talked with the member David Harbour, who plays Red Guardian. He says there is a bomb drop thing we add to this universe, which will be very exciting for the movie to do in the end of this particular phase that we're ending. So to me, he confirms the idea that phase 5 ends with the Thunderbolts. But also he talks about the idea of dropping a bomb on this universe. And when I think of that, it immediately makes me think of Sentry in regards to really changing the landscape of the world. He asked to expand on this previous bomb drop tease within the events. He says, our characters are going to interact with something that we don't really understand, and it fundamentally changes the course of the way things expand. That's all I'm saying. Oh my God, I'm getting calls tomorrow. So David Harbour thinks the Marvel snipers are already on him for revealing something along those lines. And I can easily see it being Sentry for sure. Could it be something else? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm excited to kind of see how Thunderbolts wraps up that particular phase. So we got that interview from them. Oh, there was also a possible confirmation here of another character popping up in the movie. Marvel might have confirmed a surprise Thunderbolts character. It says Thunderbolts find itself as one of the main attractions at San Diego Comic-Con. The show's entire ensemble was present in support of the film, including a franchise newcomer in Geraldine Viswanathan. The blocker star was one of the last actors to join the film, and her exact role has yet to be revealed. What has been revealed, however, is that she is playing a mysterious character named Mel. Naturally, it's easy to draw the line from a simple Mel to Melissa Gold, the anti-hero better known as Songbird. And Songbird is very much an integral part of the Thunderbolts team from the comic books, outside of taking characters like Baron Zemo and turning him into the Patriots. I think they had the villain Goliath as Atlas. I think the character Beetle, might have turned into somebody else also. I can't remember who Songbird used to be, but she used to be a former villain. So I always thought the idea of Songbird being a part of this, or other actual Thunderbolts characters from the comic books, would be pretty cool. So potentially this Mel character that this new actress is playing could potentially be Melissa Brooks, aka Songbird. So something to definitely look forward to in there potentially. And then one last clip here. This is also from comicbook.com. They did their rounds, man. I don't know who did all the interviewing, but they did their rounds. I'm trying to see who's talking here. Oh, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She says they are good guys and you're bad guys, is what she said in the footage of the Motley Crew. That includes characters from Black Widow, the Falcon, and Winter Soldier, yada yada yada. But there are worse guys. So good guys, bad guys, and worse guys. And I wonder if this is the group. We're not the good guys, Harbour said in a post-panel interview. Asked when how the Thunderbolts compare to the MCU Avengers team. He says, we are not capable. We're not Captain America responsible. We don't show up on time. Punctuality is not our strong suit. Sebastian Stan added impulsivity. when Russell used the word reactivity, with the footage shown David Harbour's Red Guardian telling his teammate they have the making of a team that can rise to glory as as the heroes on the Wheatie box. The rule bending bolts are not your standard issue superheroes. They said we are completely new species of heroes. I would say, says David Harbour. We don't exist yet in the MCU. I think we're a new evolution of something. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's unique. So yeah, interesting take. It definitely feels like they're Suicide Squad for sure. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all, and I'm kind of excited to kind of see some of these characters kind of working side by side with each other. We also did get ourselves a Fantastic Four panel, which look, let me tell you something right now. Do I have this? Let me see if I have this on my Facebook page or not. So initially they lied to people in the panel saying that the cast was not there. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think they're set to start filming today, or I think it's actually tomorrow. But they had to fly over there today. But they said they're already overseas, so they're not here. But surprise, surprise, they popped up and they got the opportunity to see the cast all together on stage, where they talked about the upcoming movie a little bit. Do I have it? Oh, yeah, I have it. Let me pause this. Can I? God damn it. Why did it do this to me? Okay, here we go. A couple things they revealed. First off, our very first look at the Fantastic car, y'all. This is hard to kind of see, so I do apologize. It was like the only video I could find. But you see the Fantastic car there, very 60s kind of style. Definitely feels like that Tony Stark tech, if you will. But they had it coming from the side of the stage and floating above. Some people were like, where's the wires? They couldn't see the wires, so we're trying to figure out how the hell they got this Fantastic car to certainly work. But look, I don't know how you fit 4 people in this thing, but it looks more like a coupe to me than a 4-door sedan. But I think the design itself is very cool and very sort of like futuristic retro 60s. I think they even showcased a little bit of the some concept art showcasing New York City's in the 1960s in this multiverse. It feels very Jetsons to me, like the world of Jetsons meeting our current day sort of city. It's a pretty cool shot, honestly. One thing that you know what? No, I'm not going to put this up here because they probably will take my video down if I post it. 2 things. One, if you have not taken the opportunity to watch some Fantastic Four interviews from San Diego Comic-Con after the panel, check out Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby. Reed Richards and Sue Storm doing their interviews together side by side. It's steamy, y'all. It's pretty steamy. Like, these two definitely have that chemistry together, to certainly say the least. Somebody said that Vanessa's just trying to play up that Pedro Pascal daddy sort of meme of him. And I'm like, look, I don't care what she's trying to play up. She looks like she's in love with this man. She's complimenting him all the time. I mean, the way that she just looks into his eyes when they're talking. I mean, she looks like she cannot take her eyes off this dude. They look like they're in love. They look like the chemistry is already there. I cannot wait to see these two on the big screen together. So I think the chemistry is definitely there. They have Johnny and the Thing doing interviews together, and then Pedro and Vanessa as Reed and Stu. So definitely go ahead and check out those post interviews if you can. They also did reveal footage, and I did post this on the Facebook page, but it quickly got taken down maybe like 20 minutes later. You probably could find it on Facebook if you truly want to. People have been re-uploading it, so I highly recommend that you look for this. But it's the footage that they showed from the Fantastic Four at San Diego Comic-Con's panel. It looks incredible. I know that they haven't officially started filming the movie yet, but they must have spent some time doing a small little vignette, like a small little I don't want to say like a commercial, but like a preview to give us a taste of sort of like this 1960s world that we're going to find ourselves in. We get to see Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards in like his like classroom sort of scientific suit as he's teaching a bunch of kids. You get the opportunity to see him and Sue Storm next to each other. You get the opportunity to see, they don't show you the Thing, but they show you his silhouette as he's on like um uh a match dating sort of competition show, if you will. They got Sue Storm talking up her brother Johnny as being very single. You get to see them in their spacesuits. You get a glimpse of the Baxter building as they're walking out to their spaceship to certainly take off, and you get a brilliant shot of Galactus looking through an apartment building window. I mean, if I didn't know, if I didn't get a chance to like, I was already kind of excited for this, but it was one of those things where it's like, man, I've seen so many Fantastic Four movies before. Hopefully they can do something significantly different. This feels different. This, like, the fact that they have Matt Shackman, who was a director for WandaVision, you can feel it all over this little teaser that they wind up giving us. Just the callbacks to the 60s with a little bit of a futuristic tone to it. Man, it was like the perfect first glimpse into that world that really had me excited for what Fantastic Four is truly going to do. So again, I would highly recommend that you guys try and find that that panel footage if you can, because it's probably not going to be around very long, to be quite honest with you. There was also something else. This was at Fan Expo. I mean, at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know if this was the day before Marvel's panel or after the panel, but they had a couple of drones that were doing. They had a couple of drones, one that did a formation of Galactus sort of rising over the horizon, really cool. But then they also did the Fantastic Four symbol. And during this, they also revealed this weekend that the composer for Fantastic Four is going to be Michael Giacchino. I don't know how far along he's been in regards to working on it. I don't know if he's actually even created this, but some people are saying that this could potentially be the main theme for the Fantastic Four. Again, I don't know if this is something that he's been working on. I don't know if this is true or not, but people are saying this is reportedly going to be the theme for the Fantastic Four. And when I heard it, it gave me goosebumps, y'all. So let me make sure that I have the make sure I have the volume on. And let me know what you guys think of this. Yo, I don't know if that's the theme or not, but damn, just damn. I love the theme, the rousing Fantastic Four. Like, dude, fucking goosebumps, man. I absolutely love it. It just feels very I don't know, retro sci-fi to me. There's a little bit of a retro sort of sci-fi to me. I hope Johnny throws up that logo in the sky at some point. I just thought that was a really cool shot of the drones. Cena Nerds in the house. What's up? Appreciate you certainly coming through. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. So yeah, great panel. Tons of other stuff. We already talked about the Avengers stuff, but I thought Marvel certainly knocked it out of the park. Did what they were supposed to do. You know, maybe some fans were maybe hoping for a little bit more, but I thought had a hell of a San Diego Comic-Con panel. One that I thought was going to start off kind of dull, but you know, and I think it's always different too. Us viewers watching this stuff from the outside, kind of looking in. You know, like the people at San Diego Comic-Con panel were hyped. Like the announcement for RDJ, the reaction. I mean, like I wanted to be there, but the fact that they're getting the opportunity to see sizzle reels, trailers, new photos, concept art, behind the scenes featurettes, things that we don't see from the outside looking in. Like me, I'm sitting over here like, man, this is kind of boring. Like, well, they're not really showing anything. But like the people at San Diego Comic-Con are seeing everything. And I think the fact that as a fan from the outside looking in, that still the Avengers stuff, the RDJ stuff added to what I thought was just going to be 3 movies that they focused on. For me, I thought it was a great panel. I can't even imagine what the people at San Diego Comic-Con was certainly feeling, man. So I got to go one year. If I can't make it to Star Wars Celebration in Japan, I think 2025 is going to be my year to go to Comic-Con. So I definitely got to experience that for sure. But look, guys, I want to know your thoughts. What did you think about the panel from Marvel Comics? Did it impress you? What are some of the things you take away from it? What didn't work for you? What did work for you? I definitely need to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below. Let me take a sip of some water, man, because your boy is not feeling good right now. I did take some medication before we went live, so hopefully I'm not too loopy here. All right. With that out of the way, because believe it or not, we actually do have other topics to talk about. And remember, if I don't cover the topics here about some things that you guys want to talk about, please go ahead and let me know in the comment section. Maybe it's something that we'll tackle. But from Marvel to DC, you know, and I heard some people say like, man, you know, Marvel Studios really just kind of, I mean, DC Studios really dropped the ball in not being at San Diego Comic-Con this year. And I don't think that's the case at all. We did get a huge reveal at the official DC Studios logo. And if you're a big fan of comic books, you know how important, especially this particular logo, is to the world of DC. They definitely have changed it over years, but this is definitely like growing up as a kid for my my DC comics. Like this is definitely one of the emblems that, and they definitely modernized it just a little bit, but it's definitely one that I definitely recognize for sure. So the fact that we have somebody like James Gunn, that again, I think it's important that James Gunn understands sort of the lineage of DC Comics, clearly has a love and an admiration for these characters and really what DC sort of means in general. And so I never understand the hate that James Gunn gets. I mean, I get the hesitancy because of his style of movie making and stuff, but I do think he's probably one of the most perfect picks for being the CEO of DC Studios, just based off of his experience in comic books and how much he truly admires these characters. And so to kind of see him talk about it, like you can clearly feel his love for these characters. So let me I'm going to bring up his speech that he winds up giving in here when he reveals to us the logo. I think this is probably something that dropped just prior, or just this is probably, I think, what they played before the reveal, but this is what he had to say.
Oh, hey, there's one more thing I'd like to share with you. From our earliest days at DC Studios, my partner Peter Safran and I have been laser focused on bringing the traditionally distinct worlds of DC film, TV, animation, and gaming into alignment under a single banner. Peter and I knew we needed one logo that would bring us all together. We knew it needed to be something that was immediately recognizable, something that honored the comics, the legendary writers and artists who inspired everything we do, including our own Jim Lee, of course, not to mention the generations of passionate and extraordinary DC fans. We needed a logo that pays honor to our past and now signifies our future, ours and yours. Thank you for your support over the past year and change. I can't wait to show you all what we have in store for you. We promise to put every ounce of our hearts and souls into honoring the legacy of Superman, of Batman, of Wonder Woman, and of all the DC Comics characters. And I promise this logo will be a sign of the love and passion and respect and hard work that goes into those creations. So now I have the distinct pleasure of showing you our DC Studios logo. I can pretend we worked long and hard on figuring out what that was, but the truth is we knew exactly what we wanted that logo to be from the moment we took charge of DC Studios. If it looks familiar to you, well, you might very well be a DC fan. Much love to all of you and have a wonderful con.
And that was his speech before revealing the fantastic DC Studios logo. And you'll probably be seeing this everywhere, whether that be animation, regular television series. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a brilliant choice. Cena Nerd says, we are in good hands with James Gunn. Plus, smart to have Peter focus on business so James Gunn could focus on the creative. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if Kevin Feige has somebody like that on board or if he used to. I think he used to, but that guy was such a penny pincher. You know what I'm saying? I think Bob Iger ousted him. Alan Ike Mutter. I can't remember his damn name. I think he used to be the financial guy. But yeah, no, I totally agree. It's brilliant that they get Peter to do the focus on the business while James focuses on the creative. And again, just hearing how passionate he is about what he's doing, like that's the type of passion that I want my CEO of a studio to certainly have, and it makes me feel like he's gonna man the ship properly. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do here. We did get ourselves a couple of things that they wind up revealing to us. First and foremost, Superman and Lois. We did get ourselves a brand new poster, which, if you ask me, looks incredible. This is like Star Wars original trilogy sort of poster artwork type of material. Like this is something that looks like it deserves to be up on my wall in the back, to be honest with you. Like, even though I haven't kept up with Superman and Lois in a couple of seasons, I would want this on my wall. It looks absolutely incredible. But this is a brand new poster. October 17th is the day for the final season. They did have themselves a Superman and Lois panel. And they also revealed a sneak peek at the upcoming battle between Superman and Doomsday in the final season. I don't think I'm going to show you that one. They may block me. They definitely may block me on that one. I can't pull that one up for you guys, but it looks incredible. You can definitely see where the budget has certainly gone for this final season. I don't know if it all went into this one battle, and that's why they couldn't afford to get back some of their recurring characters, but it looks like they are putting their best foot forward in regards to this huge battle. I think it comes in at about maybe almost 3 minutes. I hope it's not the entirety of the battle, but it looks bananas. I don't know if this is the beginning of the season, because I thought the final season ended on the cliffhanger of these two characters about to battle it out. So it would not surprise me if this is how they pick up season 2. Ram Jim says, I love the classic DC logo. Yeah, me too. Cena Nurse says, yep, I think it was Ike. He just tried to do a hostile takeover with Disney. That's right. Him and his one of his boys that were like an activist or something like that tried to take over Disney. That's right. I remember the voting for that type of stuff. I forgot that Ike was teaming up with that. See, this is why they got rid of this dude in the first place. They knew he was going to be like a thorn in their side for sure. So yeah, we got some great stuff from Superman and Lois at their panel. Again, go ahead and check it out. The Doomsday versus Superman battle is currently up on our Facebook page. There is a link in the description box below to our Facebook page if you want to check that out. We also got an early glimpse at Superman, My Adventures with Superman season 3. They do say that they're actually relatively far along. I think they've already filmed or did the voice for episode 1 of season 3 already. I think they have the first 4 episodes already written and ready to go. But they did give us a sneak peek, some brand new images of My Adventures with Superman for season 3. Also showcase some brand new villains as well. I don't know why there's like a little bit of a Akira Toriyama in like this character all the way in the very far right with the little diamond on his head. I don't know. This feels like a Akira Toriyama type of character design. And then we also got the opportunity to see Superboy. Superboy is going to be joining season 3. I think that's a really great design for his costume. Definitely harkening back to the classic Reign of Superman storyline from DC years ago. This has actually always been my favorite sort of Superboy costume design. I'm always a really big fan of it. And they did hint at the idea that season 3, Kara was going to be turning into a series regular. So if you were a big fan of Kara Zor-El as Supergirl, she will in fact be back for season 3 as a regular. So a lot to definitely look forward to if you're big fans of My Adventures with Superman. Hopefully Stuart will get his season 2 series review for you guys to certainly check out. Cena Nurse says if it looks like Superman and Lois picks up from the cliffhanger. Yeah, if anything, it would not surprise me if that's like the first 3 minutes of the episode, and it looks bananas. So it feels very much like they're trying to do like Death of Superman sort of storyline. We have also seen another poster from them of his battled cape just kind of floating in outer space. It does make me wonder if we'll get like a Reign of Superman sort of mini arc here where he kind of comes back in like an all black suit or something. I don't really know the trajectory, but look, it's your last season. Do it all. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see what else we had from DC. So yeah, a lot of animation. We already talked about Harley Quinn getting a season 5, dropping in November. So it's going to be here within a couple of months. We did also get ourselves a brand new trailer for The Penguin. And I got to tell you, man, the more and more that I watch, speaking of the Penguin, before I get into Colin Farrell's Penguin, we did have a huge announcement this past week. As we seen a nerd, he says, "Gotta go. We'll catch more later. Look forward to hearing your Deadpool and Wolverine thoughts." Yeah, I still have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I have been sick. Well, my boy was sick on Thursday. He had a fever. So I felt bad as a parent. Like, I can't go to the damn movies with my boy feeling like this. So I stayed home. Me and the girlfriend just watched over him, and I wound up catching something on Friday, and it wound up just building over the weekend. Yesterday was really the first time it started subsiding, and this is probably like the day of like the best I felt, but I'm still dealing with like a bunch of congestion right now. So I've not had the opportunity to go to the movie theaters all week. We'll see if maybe I can make something happen tomorrow. Worst case scenario, maybe Thursday or Friday. So, but I do want to go ahead and do. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. But I do want to do a spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine when I get the opportunity to certainly check it out, and we'll definitely be doing one for you guys. But appreciate you coming by, Cena Nerd. Thank you so much. But I did want to talk before we move on to a couple other topics. I did want to talk about 2 more pieces from DC that dropped this weekend. One in regards to Batman, the Caped Crusader, the upcoming Prime Video animated Batman series that's set to go ahead and drop August. I think it's August 1st, if I'm not mistaken. We'll probably read it here in one of these articles, but they are in fact gender swapping out a very popular Batman character in the likes of Penguin. They revealed the voice cast for these characters a couple of maybe a month or so ago. And I saw Minnie Driver's name, and I had no idea who Minnie Driver was going to play. But according to Entertainment Weekly, Minnie Driver is playing the Penguin on Batman the Caped Crusader, and she sings, they say. Saturday at San Diego Comic-Con was full of news about the Penguin, but even before the panel previewing the live-action series, DC unveiled new details about the character's portrayal in the animated Caped Crusader during its panel. On that show, which comes from Batman the Animated Series mastermind Bruce Timm, the Penguin will be female Oswalda Cobblepot. Not Oswald, but Oswalda Cobblepot. This version of the character will be portrayed by Minnie Driver. The casting is in keeping with Caped Crusader's new approach to several iconic characters, especially Jamie Chung's portrayal of Harley Quinn as an Asian American woman. And just from some of the trailers for Harley Quinn, she sounds great. She really does sound great. And I like the new persona that they're giving her. Minnie Driver says, that's what's so brilliant about what he's reimagined. The expansion of this particular character feels so timely for such a vintage noir show. It's incredibly modern. In addition to wielding the deadly umbrella and making her mark on the criminal underworld of Gotham City, Driver's version of the Penguin will also sing on the show. Driver tells EW she was nervous about that performance, but was helped out by a particular skilled sound engineer. She says, I didn't know it when I went into the studio. It's a big jazz standard. The sound engineer was a musician. I was freaking out, and he asked for 20 minutes. He got his guitar out, and we sat there and worked it out. He was the most brilliant accompanist. It was him who really gave me the confidence because I had to belt it. I grew up singing in jazz clubs, and I didn't know it. So yeah, so that's a little bit of what they wind up getting from the panel here. You know, look, I know some people are going to feel some type of way about the Minnie Driver as a female Oswald Cobblepot, but for me, it's one of those things where I don't want to say I give Bruce Timm a pass, but I think if there's like anybody that can get away with it with like the most minimal pushback, it probably is Bruce Timm. You know, I think Bruce Timm has given us so much great animation in his run, whether that be, you know, him in his Batman animated series or anything else really that Bruce Timm has kind of touched, whether he's been an executive producer or he's been a main sort of creative mind behind it. You know, I know it's relatively early. I'm pretty sure Rotten Tomato scores will certainly vary, but the critics are absolutely loving the series so far. And I personally am not one that really cares about it. You know, like my mentality is, what's the story going to be like? Does the character fit the story that you're going for? What's the impact of the character on the story? And if you could tell us an incredible story like that, male or female, I don't care. You know, movies don't fail based off of the gender or a race of a character, right? Movies and television shows bomb because of the fact that they're terrible stories and they're not executed well. And I think if anybody can get away with doing something like this, I think people probably are giving Bruce Timm a pass and not necessarily caring so much, but I'm sure there's definitely probably some pushback behind it. But it's just an animated television show. Like if there's any opportunity to really take chances and do things vastly different, I mean, we are setting this in what, 1940s sort of noir type of style. Have the freedom to do whatever you certainly want to. And when you're being executive produced and working alongside Matt Reeves, who just did the Batman, JJ Abrams is certainly no slouch in what he does creatively. Like these are three brilliant minds that I think certainly know what they're doing. And so for me, I'm all for it, man. If Minnie Driver can give a stellar performance, if she's got an incredible arc here going up against Batman and it fits in the story, that's really all I care about at the end of the day. Night OA, what's up, Matt? Good to see you, man. Dude, she rules. Driver just gets it. Yeah, I'm sure she does, man. I do love Minnie Driver. So I'm really eager to kind of see who she's going to be playing in here. I am eager to see her finally play the Penguin. I was trying to figure out the whole entire time when I saw the voice cast, trying to figure out like McKenna Grace. I was like, oh my goodness, who's she going to play? Minnie Driver? Like they got some really legit names in here. Enrique says, have you checked out the first clip of Batman Cape Crusader? You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I have, but nothing hurts in showing it again. Again, Facebook, please don't block me. YouTube, don't block me. I'm just trying to promote your stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? We're on the same page, bro. We're on the same page. I won't monetize it. If you want to monetize it, feel free to monetize it. But I just want to talk your stuff, man, and promote your stuff. Here we go. This is coming in at 1 minute and 25 seconds. I don't know if they've posted any other stuff, but let's take a look. And I think it drops August 1st. I think it's like right around the corner. If you're still here, Matt, or Knights of OA, let me know. He says Hamish's take on Batman is stellar too. Look, before I get into the clip, you know what I will say to that night? He did a voice actor announcement or a voice cast announcement where he was saying everybody's name. And for some reason, the way he was presenting himself and saying the voices, saying the names and the actors and stuff, I don't. There was something that was just off to me about it. I was like, I just don't know how to put my finger on it. But I remember me and Stuart saying, we're gonna wait and see how he does when it comes to the series itself, right? Because that's completely different than the idea of this man just naming off names. And then we saw the trailer, and man, all of our worries were gone. Like Hamish just completely nails the role as Batman. Just from the trailer alone and hearing his voice, I was like, yes, this is that dude. So let's go ahead and get what Hamish is doing here as Batman in this video here. Let me adjust this. Here we go. Love the silhouette of him on the wall.
Crap.
Damn, yank my man straight up.
Help! Help me! Someone!
Who's behind those explosions?
What a great voice.
Who? What are you?
3 buildings.
Oh, I love
blown to
this
pieces.
shot.
You falsified the reports. Who paid you?
Are you crazy? Pull me up!
Give me a name.
Just pull me up! Oh God! Hurry, please!
I won't ask again.
It was a penguin! It was a freaking penguin! Oh God! Oh my God!
If you're lying to me, I'll be back.
Dang. Yeah, bro. I hope you didn't lie. I hope you did not lie. But yeah, August 1st, according to Night, it drops all at once, baby. So look forward to it for sure. Great clip. I don't know if there was another clip out there or not, but great clip. And you're right, Hamish sounds he sounds incredible. I love his voice. So yeah, looking forward to August 1st. Maybe since they're dropping all at once, maybe we'll do a series review for you guys after we watched all the episodes, instead of doing individual or kind of grouping them together sort of thing. So it'll either be myself or Stuart maybe in giving you guys that review now that he's done with My Adventures of Superman. But I'll definitely keep you guys posted in that regards. Since we got that penguin out of the way, look, man, I could not get past the idea that we also have another penguin, ladies and gentlemen, played by another Oscar winner, or at least let me see. Did he win an Emmy recently? Colin Farrell. I'm sure Colin's got plenty of awards under his belt. I can never remember what he's won, but I'm sure he's won a plethora of them for sure. But he's got himself a little show called The Penguin that's coming out. And I got to tell you, man, every time I watch this guy or watch his penguin, I'm one that I always need to be reminded, oh yeah, that is Colin Farrell underneath that all that prosthetic makeup. They do a brilliant job, but this just feels like he says Penguin's comic has been great too. Era of the Penguin. Yeah, it feels very much like that. But one, I am super stoked to revisit the world of Matt Reeves. I'm ready to go ahead and continue along with this Batman saga and really see what Colin Farrell and Matt Reeves are going to do with this particular series. Each time I see these trailers, I get more and more hyped. This one, I think this is a San Diego Comic-Con official trailer. This series drops on Max September 19th. So about a month and a half away for us to look forward to this. But I think he's going to get in his bag for sure. And this is going to be another one. So let's go ahead and dive into this trailer, the latest trailer for The Penguin.
Hi, I'm Colin Farrell. Check out the trailer for my new series, Penguin.
Trust me.
It's just the beginning.
I can't remember the actress that plays Falcone's daughter in here, but she's incredible.
You promised me, Oswald.
I love that they established the Penguin and his mom relationship in this too.
I'm working on it.
World ain't set up for the honest man to succeed. That should be the American dream right there.
You know, beautiful story with a happy ending. But that ain't the way the world works. America's a hustle.
Whew. 3 shots to the body.
Not that I'm complaining.
Golly. I love that he's a gun-toting penguin.
Like you mean something.
We're in the middle of a gang war.
Carmine Falcone's dead. If we don't protect what's ours, we just look weak. The streets are talking again.
Who is that young kid
There's
playing?
only one man big enough to run this city. Do you remember Carmine's door?
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Sophia.
I thought you was
My man looks shook right now,
Arkham?
as he should be.
No. I've been rehabilitated.
Oh, okay. Okay. She got that crazy look.
Game with his family on. You think I want Sophia Falcone knocking on my door?
She is the hangman.
Who is she? Who is he playing?
What is it you're really after, us?
Well, he's in this too?
Tear down the empire from the inside out. Whoever controls the drug business controls the streets. I'll be running the whole damn trade.
I got it, Bishop. I can help you.
Hey! Feel alive, Vic, huh?
Vic.
Feel your heart beating?
This city is meant to be yours, sweetheart. What are you gonna do to get it?
Trust me. It's just the beginning.
Damn. Isn't this the same logo entrance for the Batman too, but just for the Penguin? Man, it looks so good. This is literally like the Batman meets Sopranos. Like, I cannot wait for this show. Like, I truly can't. You know, similar to Star Wars, how I love like learning about like the political lore behind the scenes, like what's going on with senators and things like that. Like, it's the same thing when it comes to anything Batman related. Understanding the underground and the mob world, because it plays such an integral part into the world of the Batman and who's in power and who's got more sway, sort of thing. So I am really intrigued to kind of see, especially after the events of the Batman and Falcone kind of being taken out, just what that power struggle is going to be like, because it does look like there's a bunch of different families kind of vying for everything in here. And you know, it's definitely a different iteration of the Penguin than I'm certainly used to. But I think that's one of the things about the world that Matt Reeves is creating that I'm really kind of looking forward to. Like, I'm going to say this because while I can't say I'm a huge Batman fan, I definitely have read several different runs of Batman. I can't say I'm like fully invested in the whole Bat family and all the rogues gallery to know so much about them. But if it's like a television series or a movie, like I'm usually there watching it. You know what I mean? So this is definitely an iteration of the Penguin as like a mini machine gun sort of Glock sort of guy, this gun toting guy just shooting people down. Like I'm definitely not used to seeing it, but it definitely works for Colin Farrell's take on the Penguin, and they definitely are doing their best to continue to keep this as grounded as they possibly can, and by doing that, it's made me a big fan. So I'm really eager to certainly get back into that world. He does call this guy Vic. Why does he call this guy Vic? Like, that name sounds familiar. For some reason, I'm thinking, and I'm probably completely wrong on this. Hold on, let me just check something real quick. Oh, I was thinking Victor Zsasz. Is that Victor Zsasz? Because I was thinking of the bald guy from the Fox show Gotham. And when he says Vic, I immediately thought that guy. And so when I look it up, I was like, who's this guy from Gotham? His name is Victor Zsasz. So I am wondering if that's who that kid that he's talking to is playing, if it's just a different rendition of Victor Zsasz, but just under the name of Vic in here. So we'll see. I would assume that's probably my first assumption as to who he's playing now that I heard his name. Definitely looks vastly different than what I certainly expected. Just because, again, the last time I remember seeing Victor was from Gotham. And shout out to Anthony Carrigan, who actually played him in Gotham, now going to be playing Metamorpho in the Superman movie. So I'm excited to kind of see what he does here. So again, I know a lot of people were like, man, DC Studios dropped the ball and not coming to San Diego Comic-Con this year. I thought DC did their damn thing, whether that be television-wise for Penguin, even for My Adventures of Superman, and really highlighting some of their popular animated television series like Harley Quinn, My Adventures of Superman, and others. So I thought they had a hell of a presence at San Diego Comic-Con. And if anything, San Diego Comic-Con 2025 is going to be the year of DC Studios. Like, I am really looking forward to seeing the presentations that they have. I don't know if they're doing another DC fandom, or if they I don't know if they're doing another DC fandom this year, or if they've kind of scrapped that idea. I personally would like to see another DC fandom, but I had a lot of fun with their programming. But it would not be surprised if I would not be surprised if they have a very big presence at San Diego Comic-Con at least. He says, love what DC did at Comic-Con. Yeah, I totally agree. Their comic book announcements were fantastic. Yeah, weren't they introducing like DC Absolute or Absolute Power or something? I saw some of the really cool concept arts. And yeah, he said that new Justice League Ultimate Team Fire. Who's the team made up of? I think I remember seeing, you know, this is like a C-level character for me, but I remember used to being a big fan of just his design, at least growing up back in the 80s and 90s. Captain Atom, or the Atom, or I think it's referred to him as Captain Atom, if I'm not mistaken. There were a couple other people added to the team that I wasn't familiar with, but Night of OA says Absolute series with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. The Superman one is one that really stood out to me. Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. That's right. The first trailer for Creature Commandos dropped. Justice League team is Supes, Wonder Woman, Batman, Captain Atom, the Atom, Star Sapphire. That's what it was. I was like, there's no Green Lantern, and then I saw her as a part of the team. I'm like, okay, so they winded up getting her. Okay, Star Sapphire and the Flash, which I believe he mentioned is Wally West, if I'm not mistaken. Bring back Wally West Flash. Like, I don't get me wrong, I know Barry Allen is like the Flash for so many people, but I grew up in the 90s when Wally West was like the Flash after Barry, and I really hate just like how Wally has kind of been treated over the years. So I'm glad that he's getting this push to prominence once again as part of this team. I used to collect comic books on a weekly basis, but if anything, it just gets so expensive. I haven't collected in maybe about like 6-7 months, so I'm really behind on a lot of things. But this unlimited team, or this ultimate team, might unlimited team might actually get me back into at least their comic book run for sure. Knight says, yeah, Wally was mine too. Yeah, he was my Flash growing up for sure. So I'm glad that he's a part of the team here. Enrique did say the Creature Commandos trailer. Just so you guys know, I did do a review for the Creature Commandos trailer that wound up dropping. But you know what? For shits and giggles, man, let's go ahead and play it, because this is really our appetizer course for the DC. I'm really expecting, and I don't know what we're going to get out of this series besides what they show us in here, but I'm really expecting this show to really lay the groundwork for what we're going to get in DC Studios, in the sense of like, what does this world sort of look like? The Creature Commandos trailer feels like it picks up after some of the events in the Suicide Squad movie, along with Peacemaker season 1. So if anything, I am kind of curious, especially now that we're going into a world where we have the Authority, where our Justice League seemingly is wearing unified costumes and uniforms that seem to be sort of made by Maxwell Lord. You know, it seems as though that team has become, I don't want to say corporate, but clearly funded by somebody, very reminiscent to that of like Justice League International. And so I do hope that something like Creature Commandos gives us a groundwork of what not only the government, how the world views heroes, but also just what some of these other groups might be, you know, because when you do have a world that has the Authority and the Justice League, where do these creatures sort of fit into all these things? So I am looking forward to Creature Commandos to emphasizing that and giving us some ideas. But let's go ahead and dive into this trailer if you missed it. Creature Commandos, the first project coming out of the DCU, set for this December.
General Flagg. This is Belle Reeve. For over 50 years, only those at the uppermost levels are aware of its existence.
I thought Congress put a stop to all Task Force X activities.
Congress said you can't use human prisoners. These assholes aren't human.
I love Viola Davis being back.
You smiling?
Yes.
Sarcastically?
Mm-hmm.
He's missing!
This is your new task force.
It's been oh so long since G.I. Robot has sent Nazis back to hell.
Let's call it Task Force M. M for Monster. Also known as...
December, baby. First off, I love the music in this trailer. I truly do. I think the music is brilliant. I think this is going to be a fun one, man. This is definitely coming to us from the mind of James Gunn for sure. It's definitely going to have his fingerprints certainly all over it. But it works for me. I'm really eager to kind of see all these characters. Knight says, you just know the bride is going to be 2024's breakout character. She probably might. I am not familiar with any of these guys, honestly. So I am really, and I think that's what I love about James Gunn is that he's not afraid to take these C, D level characters and really make them or turn them into household names, that we get used to seeing on television and whatnot. So I am really fascinated to kind of see. It looks like it's going to be fun. The animation looks great. The action sequences look pretty smooth animation wise. So I think there's a lot to really look forward to with this. And again, he has mentioned, look, if you're going to be playing the voice if you're going to be the voice actor for these characters, if we do bring them into live action, these actors will be playing them in live action also. You can look at Rick Flag Sr. being voiced by Frank Grillo. He's going to be playing him in the Superman movie as well. And I think he might even be popping up in Peacemaker season 2, if I read the news correctly. So a lot of great things, man. But that's Creature Commandos dropping this December. I'm ready to go ahead and dive into that world. But that's the DC stuff, man. That's the DC stuff. Another heavy load of what DC had to certainly offer. And I don't think that they disappointed at all. A couple of other quick topics we'll get into rather quickly before we get into live viewer questions. And again, if there's anything that I missed that we talked about here, feel free to let me know if there's something else that you guys wanted to talk about. I'll see if I have it on my Facebook page. I will say I'm not going to highlight it, but it deserves to be on here. I just don't know too much about what's going on with the franchise right now, and that's Star Trek. Star Trek does have a huge series coming out, Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which continues to, I think they had some huge announcements this week also in regards to who's coming in from the cast. I think they got Robert Picardo from Star Trek Voyager to reprise his role, which look, I grew up during the Next Generation phase. So Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager was like my in for Star Trek. I love Next Generation. My stepdad was more of he liked Next Generation too, but he loved Deep Space Nine. I couldn't really get into Deep Space Nine, but Star Trek Voyager for me was like my ish. Captain Janeway was my guy, was my girl. Chakotay was his name, I believe, like her right hand man there. You got the Doctor played by Robert Picardo coming back, a Black Vulcan. I mean, come on, man, like what? I just remember it coming on UPN growing up as a kid, and like that was my group of Star Trek, being in front of the television every week. So the fact that they are getting him back to reprise his role, I think, is brilliant. There's a couple other characters I think are reprising their role. I'm just hella impressed with like the names. Was it Holly Hunter, I believe, is attached to this? Like some of the names that they've been able to get for this is unbelievable. They had some images, or they had new footage from season 3 of Strange New Worlds. We did post the we did post the clip on our Facebook page if you want to check that out for yourself. I'm gonna be honest, I do want to play something here real quick that I don't know how to feel about, and I am a huge fan of Michelle Yeoh, but they have been talking about doing a Star Trek Section 31 movie. That you say Michelle Yeoh, and I'm like, yes, please. Like I do. I did watch the first season of Discovery. I watched about maybe the second, like about a half of second season of Discovery. But so I'm familiar with the character. I don't remember exactly how her story ends. But the idea that they say, hey, Michelle Yeoh's going to be doing a Star Trek movie, I'm like, yes, please. And then they dropped the trailer, and I don't know. I don't know what this is. I really don't know what this is. But I don't want to be the only one to have to sit through this by myself. So I'm gonna have to make you guys watch this with me. But this is the trailer for Star Trek Section 31. Maybe it'll hit you differently than it did me. Let me know after you watch it. Oh, hold on. I don't think I put the audio on. Hold on a second. Adam's messing this up again. The intro to this I thought was awesome in regards to at least giving us a flashback of her life and how she got to where she is. But the rest of this trailer, misfit content. What? Star Trek? What?
An emperor can only be loyal to duty. Thus does the empire.
Okay, I'm on board so far.
Remain strong. Thus.
This is dope.
Does it grow? All hail the emperor!
Philippa Giorgio, you're a tyrant who murdered her own people by the millions. The past always catches up with you.
You're Section 31.
Okay, ladies, now let's get information.
31 is a Black Ops division. Spy work. Starfleet is here to make sure no one commits murder.
What a cute idea.
Who to me, you got some coordination.
It's gonna be bumpy and bad.
What's happening?
You're a bad bitch.
We can't trust you with our lives, but here we go.
Somebody's got to keep it lively, right?
Ladies, now let's get information.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're a bad bit. Really, they say that in the year was it the 32nd century or some shit? Like they still say that you're a bad bitch. Man, Beyonce living. I don't even know if that was Beyonce or not, but whoever was singing that song, clearly a classic for the 32nd century or whatever, wherever they're at right now in Star Trek lore. I just did not know where this trailer came from. I started laughing in the middle of this because I don't know why when I see like her ragtag group of people that she puts together, like the first thing that comes to mind, and I know this is gonna sound bad, like I'm not one that likes to crap on things, but like when I see something's bad, I gotta say it. When I see her ragtag group of people, I don't know why I think of the people from the bikers or the speeders from the Book of Boba Fett, like the Power Ranger looking the Power Ranger, like the green, blue, yellow guys, you know, like all riding on their Harleys and stuff, like just the most out of place sort of like group of characters. It's just so random to me. It's almost laughable. Bad choice of music, if you ask me. But look, I get the idea that they want to be lively and they want to do something with energy. And look, I don't think Michelle Yeoh is going to be the bad part of this, like at all. I think if anything, she will help uplift this movie. But if this is like your first impression of what Section 31 is going to be like I do not care for this. I do not care for this. You had me like the first 10, 15 seconds of the background story and stuff. But yeah, no, I do not care for it, unfortunately. But maybe they'll have another trailer that will get me to jump on board with this. But this was just not a good first impression. I thought you were going to compare them to Charlie's Angels. No, I don't know why my mind went to the Book of Boba Fett. They just seem so out of place, the most colorful and just most random characters. Maybe that's what they're going for. But yeah, man, I couldn't get with it. If you were a big fan of it, look, I'm not trying to upset you or yuck on your yum, as I've heard somebody say before. If you love it, good for you. I'm just saying, for me, it just didn't hit. Let's see. Trey Bone says exactly, the seeing a black Vulcan made me feel proud. Didn't it though? He says, I want Stargate back. Oh my God. Trey, I feel like they split us at birth, man. I feel like they split us at birth. I was a huge Stargate fan, whether that be SG-1, Atlantis. My mom fell in love with Jason Momoa watching Atlantis together. And then they had Stargate Universe, I believe, short-lived. I would have liked to have seen at least another season of it, but I do miss Stargate, man. I truly do miss Stargate. They shouldn't have named it Section 31, just named it Giorgio. That would have been cool. I remember that. Marcelino says, did you praise the biker gang from Boba Fett initially? I remember you praising the biker gang from Boba Fett initially. Did you change your mind over time? I probably did. It's been a while since I've seen the Book of Boba Fett. I have to go back and check out my reviews for it, honestly. But it just feels a little bit these characters feel a little bit out of place to me. I just don't know why my head immediately went. My head just immediately went to them for some reason. There was like no thought process behind it. It's just like, huh. That's what it just reminded me of. All right, guys. We have a couple minutes left. I'm probably going to go over the 2-hour mark, tackling these last 3 little topics before we get into our live viewer questions. But let's go ahead and dive into our next topic here. And that is, in fact, Transformers. They are, in fact, more than meets the eye. We got ourselves, I believe San Diego Comic-Con kicked off with a brand new trailer. They also had a panel from that day. Did I? Oh man, I think I closed it. They did have a panel from that day. I'll highlight some of the things that the panel talked about. I did have a page here. Let me see if I can find it real quick to pull up so we can go over some of the extra details that came out of that panel outside of the trailer. But one of the things about the Transformers trailers that I have seen so far is that they definitely have been geared towards humor and very much like the lightheartedness of the movie itself. And one of the things that I have been saying is that I hope that this movie, that there's more to it, that there is a serious sort of drama element behind these characters and not just all humor. And so I gotta say, when we wind up getting this brand new trailer that dropped, I was so incredibly pleased. I'm probably not gonna play. I probably won't play this trailer for you guys either. Just to be on the safe side. I don't want to play everything that we've gotten so far because I do want to try and avoid copyright, even though I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna get my ass anyway. But I gotta say, this trailer so much better, so much better. I am not one that really focuses a lot on like first reactions to movies, but people that have had the opportunity to see this movie already have been praising it. And again, I try not to listen to first reactions because a lot of the times they're really built off of excitement of being able to have seen something first and being fresh out of the theater itself. So I try not to take first reactions as gospel, but I have heard really good things. And after watching this first trailer, if you want to check out the trailer for yourself, it is on our Facebook page also. I think we posted it last Thursday because the San Diego Comic-Con panel was like the first panel that they had. But I was a really big fan of this trailer. While there is humor, there is more story in here than humor. I really love the opportunity to kind of see what that relationship between Optimus and Megatron sort of transforms into, as they do in fact sort of tease Megatron's turn and his separation from his good old buddy in Optimus. And for me, that's really fascinating. I love the fact that they're also on a mission. They have to go to the surface world also, and it just feels like they're, I don't want to say there's like, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say I know Transformers lore. I don't know what sort of like retconning or like liberties that they're kind of taking with Transformers 1, but this is probably the first most complete trailer for Transformers that I've seen that has made me step away from it like, I'm ready to see this movie now. Like you have officially gotten me on board. Do I feel like it's a little bit too late? I don't know. I do think the first couple of trailers that they released were just not super great, but I do feel like they've gradually gotten better. And I do think the one that they dropped at San Diego Comic-Con by far is the best trailer, as they really start focusing more on what the storyline beats are going to be, and less sort of like that, hey guys, you're looking to come see another Lego movie sort of humor. And so I'm really glad that they kind of put that to bed a little bit, and are giving us something a little bit different here. But let's go into, I haven't read this one yet, but this is a recap of the panel for Transformers. I think did I have a Transformers one? Yeah, here we go. They did have a sizzle reel, apparently. They showed some exclusive footage, shows Optimus Prime and Megatron's cinematic history, ending with footage of how their dynamic began. Oh, that's a cool sizzle reel. I wonder if they ever released that. I think Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron is really going to win me over. And I think the more I listen to Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime, he really just falls into that role, honestly. They joked the origin story would have cost $500 million in live action, confirms that there are no human characters. He says Cooley brought out the heart of the movie. Megatron and Optimus Prime's future characterizations were bleeding through too early into D16 and Orion Pax's characterizations. Cooley says the original Transformers cartoon got him into animation. He was excited to explore how D16 and Orion Pax became enemies. Cooley says Hasbro gave him the massive Bible of Transformers history and was excited to play with all of it. He wanted to emulate the feeling of playing with toys as a kid. Wow, that's cool that they gave him the Bible like that. 3 clips are shown. First, a race in Icon 5000, Cybertron's Olympics. D16 or Orion have different views about entering the race. They watch the race from above the starting line and see Sentinel Prime, played by John Hamm, address the population. Orion Pax attaches a pack to D16 back, and they enter the race, inspiring people across Cybertron who are amazed that minors are entering the race. Through an array of hijinks, they very narrowly make their way into the top 3 of the race. End clips early with the interstitial returning back to the... Okay, so they ended the clip early. So they clearly made it into the top 3, but they don't show you if they won the race or not. Was this Keegan Michael Key says he was a diehard fan as a kid. Brian Henry says he was a fan of Ratchet as a kid and had a Megatron toy. So he was excited about the possibility of getting to explore the villain's origin story. Henry said he wanted levity and precociousness in order to make the villain turn even stronger. Oh, that makes sense. Like with his Spider-Man performance, he wanted to find the heart. Key's B127 is trying to wedge his way into their friendship. They wanted B17 to speak a lot to make up Bumblebee's limited speech in other media. Okay, that makes sense. I can see. Well, look, if you got Keegan Michael Key to go ahead and play Bumblebee, yeah, I think you're doing something right in that regards. From what I've seen in the trailers, he is pretty funny, but it was just the over the top humor that was. It felt like it was too much in the early trailers. But again, the San Diego Comic-Con trailer they released was incredible. The second clip, the groups are missing their T-Cogs, which give them the ability to transform. They receive the T-Cogs from Alpha Trion, played by Lawrence Fishburne. I didn't even pick up on his voice. And outrun the bad guys. We've kind of seen that clip before. The crew describes Fishburne's Alpha Trion as similar to Morpheus and Obi-Wan. Interesting. Hemsworth praises Peter Cullen and wanted to do something original and more idealistic instead of the mimic what was already established. And then the last clip, Starscream, played by Steve Buscemi, and the High Guard kidnap the gang. Bumblebee talks way too much, and Starscream argues that all bots need to fend for themselves. Megatron fights him and sways his army to his favor to OP's horror. So yeah, they looks like they did give away more clips at the panel themselves, but overall, man, I'm really excited for this movie now. After seeing the last trailer, I'm super pumped for what this movie could potentially be. But let me know your thoughts if you had the opportunity to check out the trailer for yourself. Certainly, go ahead and let me know. Moving on to our next topic real quick. The Boys was not silent at all during San Diego Comic-Con, as we wind up getting ourselves a brand new announcement for an upcoming series. I think I did do a brief short on this on our YouTube channel, but I have not had the opportunity to really discuss it or talk about it. But The Boys is back. Even though the idea that they're going to be wrapping things up come season 5, there's plenty more for them to certainly do. We've got Gen V season 2 certainly set to drop in regards to spinoffs. I believe, even though they have not done too much for The Boys Mexico, that certainly is still in the works. And we have just been announced a brand new spinoff series that's going to be titled Vought Rising, as we're going to get some recurring stars coming back. The Boys prequel series, Vought Rising, starring Jensen Ackles, which I'm a huge fan of Jensen Ackles. I'm really glad that he's coming back. And Aya Cash, ordered by Prime Video. So Stormfront is returning along with Soldier Boy. This is an exclusive. It says The Boys universe is expanding in a big way with its first spinoff starring actors from Prime Video superhero series. They are set to headline, Jensen and Aya are set to headline and produce Vought Rising, a prequel to the Mother series, they will reprise their characters, Soldier Boy and Stormfront. The news is about to be unveiled. Oh, I guess they unveiled this before the actual panel itself wind up dropping. It does come from the creative minds behind the Boys franchise, so it does have executive producer and showrunner Eric Kripke attached to it. Kripke says, "We are excited to bring you the next deranged series from the world of the Boys." It says it's a twisted murder mystery about the origins of Vought in the 1950s, the early exploits of Soldier Boy, and the diabolical maneuvers of a soup known to fans as Stormfront, who was then going by the name Clara Vought. We cannot wait to blow your minds and trouble your souls with this salacious, grisly saga drenched in blood and Compound V. You can watch below Ackles talk about the prequel after crashing the Boys panel. It does say Ackles, Soldier Boy, and Aya Cash of Stormfronts have similar origin stories. Soldier Boy is the first American non-aging soup, created by Frederick Vought during World War II. Stormfront was Frederick Vaught's first successful test subject for Compound V, and she married him before they moved to the U.S. Is there the video? I'm trying to see if they had the video. He said it was down below. Hold on, let me see if I'm going to try and share this again, but I'm going to put the audio on, see what Jensen Ackles is saying here in his interview when he's on stage. Is he just, this is like the first time he's learning about this? He's like, I got a job. So yeah, man, we got ourselves Vought Rising. Look, I am a big fan of period pieces. I truly am. Spider-Man Noir taking us back in time. Sign me up. Batman, Cape Crusader taking us back in time. Sign me up. I do love a good period piece. And so the fact that we're kind of building on the lore of Vought. Getting to see more of Soldier Boy. Again, I'm a big Jensen Ackles fan. I really enjoyed him as Soldier Boy. Stormfront was one of those characters you absolutely love to hate. Just like, goddamn, if I could punch her in the face myself, I would. Even though I don't condone that. I don't condone hitting women, but Stormfront probably deserved a couple punches from time to time. So I'm fascinated. I'm really fascinated by this project. I think this is going to be something pretty fun, pretty awesome. And yeah, you say prequel series, Jensen Ackles, Soldier Boy, Vought, beginning of Vought, twisted murder mystery. Sign me up, man. I'm really excited for what the franchise is doing, despite the idea that a lot of these the main series itself is certainly ending. Marcelo says, with Jensen Ackles playing the main role, this kind of hints that he won't play the DCU Batman because it would have been hard for him to play both roles simultaneously. I mean, we don't know how. I mean, I feel like we've seen some people balance roles. I still don't know if I have no idea what their plans are for Batman as of yet. But stay hopeful, Marcelino. Stay hopeful. I heard Aya Cash was attached to another TV show to star in called The Franchise, so I'm surprised that she will be a main character in Vought Rising. I think it has a lot to do too with like the timing of how you do things and how you schedule your stuff, right? Like, I don't know how long it takes them to actually film a season of The Boys. I don't know how far along something like Batman Brave and the Bold even is. So who's to say that Jensen Ackles can't, have already wrapped his season 1 or his filming for Vought Rising season 1, and then once he's done filming that, boom, he's ready to go on something like a Batman. I don't know how long it would take for Vought Rising to film or even Batman to film too. But if Aya Cash can attach yourself to another show and sort of balance things out, I think it really just kind of comes down more to schedule than anything else. So I don't know. I have no idea, Marcelino. I don't think it necessarily takes him out of the running, but I can understand that for sure. It's kind of funny how we got updated on Gen V and the Boys, and it was announced that the next spinoff will be Vought Rising, but we got no information on the Mexican spinoff they announced previously. Well, I think one of the last articles that we talked about was that it's just not in movement right now. So they probably just had nothing to really show or talk about it at the convention. And I think that's wise. If you're not in full on development of it right now, don't talk about it. I think that's what Lucasfilm is kind of learning the hard way. I think that was the issue with DC too. At least early on was the idea that like, hey, we have these stuff down the road. Let's show you when they're due, when we're going to drop them, and then never make it happen. Because Entertainment Weekly, I think back in May, did say, Eric Kripke did say The Boys Mexico spinoff is a while away from being official. So they've got a lot of uphill climbing to do before they announce it. Clearly, it's something that they want to do, but they probably were not ready to announce anything. So I wouldn't fault them for that until they're absolutely ready. Let's see here. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about Vought Rising. What else do I have left? Oh, two quick things. Because I'm a Doctor Who fan. They did have some Doctor Who news. It's been a while, I feel like, since we've gotten ourselves an actual spin-off series from Doctor Who. I remember during the early years of the reboot way back in like 2005 when they first started adapting it again. I think they might have had like maybe 1 or 2 different spin-off series out of Doctor Who, and then after that it just kind of fell to the wayside, and I think they've really just been focusing on the main series as of right now. But we are getting a brand new spin-off. They actually went ahead and announced the war between the land and the sea, as we do have some returning characters from, I don't know if they're, I have to look at the article we're about to dive into, but Gugu Mbatha Raw, I believe she was in a season of Doctor Who. There's a part of me that wants to say David Tennant was still the Doctor at that time, but I believe she was in a few episodes of Doctor Who already. And then Gemma Damn it, Adam, I can't see because of this thing. Gemma Redgrave. I believe she's actually been in Doctor Who, playing a role quite some time. I think she was been like the head of their government agency or something like that controls like all the alien stuff, if I'm not mistaken, like all the alien intel. But this, let me go ahead and bring this up. This actually comes to us from their Doctor Who website. New Whoniverse spinoff, The War Between the Land and the Sea, announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Russell Tovey and Gugu Mbatha Raw lead the cast in the new spinoff from BBC and Disney Plus. Doctor Who alumni Jenna Redgrave and Alexander Devrient. Let's see here. It says the series is created by Doctor Who showrunner, executive producer Russell T Davies, who has written the series with Pete McDye, leading the 5-part series. Oh, so it's only 5 episodes. Okay. The series will also see the return of Unit alum Jenna Redgrave, who will reprise a role as Kate Lethbridge Stewart, and Alexander Devrient as a Colonel Ibrahim. Maybe I'm mistaken Gugu, if I'm is it Juju? Gugu? I'm probably butchering her name. I do apologize. No offense. But I feel like I've seen her in Doctor Who before. Maybe I'm tripping. I'm gonna have to Google this real quick, y'all. Hold on a second. I feel like I know I can't be tripping, y'all. She's 41 years old. Wow. She's about the same age as me. Why does she look better than me? That's fucked up. You know what has Bathy Raw? Why do I feel like I've seen her in Doctor Who? Am I tripping, y'all? I swore she was in Doctor Who, man. Tish Jones. Yes, she was. Okay, I wasn't freaking out then. Yes, wasn't she the sister of the companion, I thought, of one of his companions? So she has been in here before. Tish Jones. I'm not tripping. Okay, I know what the F I'm talking about then. So she has been in it before. I think she was the sister to one of David's companions, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I wonder why they didn't bring that up, that she was a Doctor Who alum. I know she wasn't like a main character, I don't believe, but she played in several episodes. It says The War Between Land and Sea is another utterly unique and gripping drama from Russell T Davies, and we're delighted to welcome this show to the Whoniverse. Filming begins next month. So it's going to be a 5-part series. So they're going to have 5 episodes. When a fearsome and ancient species emerges from the ocean, dramatically revealing themselves to humanity, an international crisis is triggered. With the entire population at risk, UNIT steps into action as the land and sea wage war. That sounds pretty interesting. Look, I'm not going to lie. I'm not necessarily the biggest like conspiracy theorist guy, but you know, when it comes to UFOs, I remember smoking a little bit with the girlfriend one day, and it got me like on a Doctor Who, not a Doctor Who tangent, but like a UFO tangent. And I was like, babe, what if UFOs don't come from space, but they come from underwater? Right? Like there's so much percentage of the water that we haven't even explored. Like, what if they're actually Atlanteans? She was just looking at me like, babe, I think you smoke too much. But I dig this idea. It looks like that's the premise that they're kind of building it off of. Not to say that they're Atlanteans, but the idea of an ancient species sort of emerging from the ocean, having lived there. You know, the idea of like, hey, UFOs, do they disappear into the ocean? Where do they go? We've seen them over the ocean before. I think that's a cool concept for Doctor Who to definitely go ahead and establish. So this is our our leading cast, y'all, for the Hooniverse spinoff series, The War Between the Land and the Sea. And when did they say this begins? They start filming next month, but I don't think there's an actual release date as of yet. So Whovians, get excited. Get excited. What's up, Indy? Good to see you in here, man. Appreciate you certainly stopping by today. And then last but not least, guys, our last topic, and then we're going to get into some live viewer questions. We're going to transition over to a series that I am utterly excited to talk about and dive back into, and that's going to be The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, dropping on Amazon Prime beginning August 29th, a month away from today. I think it is time for me to begin my rewatch. I'm just about finished my rewatch of House of the Dragon season 1, while I'm also watching House of the Dragon season 2 at the same time. So I am ready to do my rewatch for The Rings of Power. I bring this up because we did get ourselves a brand new trailer here this week, and man, it's a great trailer. It's an absolute trailer. It makes me sort of, and look, while I personally was a big fan of the first season, I had some gripes with it, but I still walked away enjoying the show for certainly what it was. But I can understand some people's hesitancy and their gripes with season 1 in regards to the pacing, maybe too many storylines kind of going on at once, if you will. I don't think it helped any. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, released fairly close to each other. So I think it was like really bogged down by a lot of like comparisons, right? I think we had like The Rings of Power on Friday, and then 2 days later was like the House of the Dragon, right? So I think it definitely faltered and hurt it playing opposite House of the Dragon with all the comparisons kind of going on, because I just find Tolkien's work and George R.R. Martin's work just significantly different, right? They just had a completely different style. But I thought The Rings of Power season 1 did a really great job of lore building and establishing characters. And after watching this trailer that we got at San Diego Comic-Con, it made me a believer that season 1 was very purposeful in the way that it was orchestrated in regards to it being a true building block to where we're now going to be at in season 2. And it does make me not only want to revisit the series, but views season 1 a little bit different. If you have not had the opportunity to check out the trailer, I will go ahead and play this one for y'all. So let me make sure I got this up. All right, so this is season 2 of The Rings of Power. This trailer dropped at San Diego Comic-Con. The series is set to drop August 29th. Let's go.
Sauron sees himself as master of all Middle-earth. He seeks to rule it not only through conquest, but by bending the minds of all its peoples to his own. And for that, he needs not armies. No! But rings.
Boy, let me just say real quick before I continue this, I love the fact that they're establishing the rings this season. Just this line from Galadriel, the fact that he doesn't need to bend the wills of people, but like he just needs to control you by the rings. And I think that definitely harkens back to just the idea of like the one ring to rule them all, right? Like in the darkness binds them. And so you definitely get that sense that Sauron is pulling the strings behind kind of maybe what's going on, or pulling the strings in regards to the true motives that these people, like the actions that these people are taking, and Sauron maybe working behind the scenes in regards to kind of crafting these people's sort of mindset behind it all, working through the rings that they've kind of acquired. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that.
In choosing to wear those rings, you have all become his collaborators.
I know you believe this ring is deceiving me, but I believe it is guiding me.
All this may be by his design.
These rings may be how he attains power.
They must be destroyed.
We will discuss the rings once you have answered the question. Who is this man?
He is no man. He deceived me.
I also want to say too, again, I'm stopping it because one, it's a really long video, but I'm also trying to avoid copyright. um, but one, because of the fact that Galadriel's wearing a ring this season, she says, I believe it's showing me something or pushing me into a particular path. And clearly Elrond believes the idea, like, no, like he's still influencing you through the power of the ring, even though Galadriel wants to kind of just completely dismiss it. And so for me, the fact that she brings up he deceived me in season 1, which she certainly did, a part of me is like, girl, have you not learned your lesson? Like, he could potentially still be deceiving you. Like, that would just be so tragic for Galadriel to be deceived 2 seasons in a row. But I almost feel kind of maybe fitting for her character. Because I can tell you right now, Halbrand from season 1, yeah, he complete transformation, bro. Complete transformation this season for sure.
He's Sauron.
What do I call you? A sharer of gifts. Our work begins now.
I have walked across mountains and deserts to help my friend find his destiny. One the fate of the world may depend on.
Is it my task to stop the fire? Is it my task to face Sauron?
To try and cheat death might lead to an even greater catastrophe.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. Let me go back and say, one, uh, I'm curious if this is the same Balrog that we get introduced to in the Peter Jackson movies in the Mines of Moria. I think this is a great Easter egg to get people that remember the trilogy but maybe didn't watch the show itself, to kind of get them in like a reference point, like, oh yeah, I know that thing. So I think that was a really cool move to put it in the trailer. But I am fascinated to find out who the mysterious man is. I am very much under the impression that he is Gandalf. I believe at the panel they did say that the mystery man name will in fact be revealed this season too. So is he Saruman? Is he Gandalf? I'm under the impression that he's Gandalf working with the Harfoots. But I am kind of curious to see how they handle his storyline this year. But let's continue.
Father, take off the ring.
I'm afraid, Durin. Every soul in Middle Earth is in peril. Will you abandon them to their doom?
Oh, what have you done to me?
Leave Sauron to me.
Promise me, Elrond. You will not stop until he is destroyed.
Forgiveness takes an age. I need your axe, old friend.
Fight with me. Fight with our friends!
When the darkness falls, there are always some who rise forth and shine. You will give me the nine.
Who that be?
Man, what a trailer, bro. What a trailer. If I could be honest, probably my favorite trailer of all of San Diego Comic-Con. The music is there. It gets me amped up. You get to see truly the scope of some of the battles that they're going to get into. The budget, I think, was certainly shown in season 1, but it definitely looks like the budget and the money that Amazon is putting towards the series really shows in here. We got to see Talking Ents, also another callback to the trilogy. It looked like Shelob, perhaps the spider, as Isildur is slashing away at her with one of his knives. At least I'm assuming that's Shelob, or maybe one of her kids. That I'm not quite sure yet, but some great reference points again for those that remember the trilogy itself, showcasing like, hey, you remember these, right? Come back and check it out. But the scope of the battles look epic. It definitely just looks like they're paying incredible detail to attention, and the attention to detail, I should say. And then again, that the musical score is so damn rousing in here. Great editing work on this trailer. By far, out of all the trailers that I personally saw in here this weekend, by far the best trailer that we wind up getting, honestly. Either that or it's just my hypeness for season 2 of the Rings of Power. So look, I would say if you felt some type of way about season 1, if you were uncertain about it, after checking out House of the Dragon season 2, I say kind of step away, check out season 1 once again, Rings of Power, see how it hits you, if it hits you differently, and then go and watch this trailer one more time before season 2 drops. And I really do think that you'll be appreciative of what season 2 is certainly about to give us. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I think I think they are certainly, look, I'm not a Tolkien head, right? Like, I'm sure that there are people that are just absolute purists. I'm just a guy that literally watch the Peter Jackson stuff. My stepdad used to try and get me to read The Hobbit when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and I just did not care for it. And then I wind up seeing the Peter Jackson trilogy. I fell in love with it, or I should say I watched Fellowship of the Ring and I fell in love with it. And then I picked up the actual trilogy novel. I read the trilogy before Two Towers came out, and then I watched both movies, and I absolutely loved the trilogy itself. I never went back to check out The Hobbit outside of the movies, which I didn't necessarily care for. The two, I didn't mind the first Hobbit movie, but after that I didn't really care for it. So I'm not a big Tolkien head. I'm not somebody that's like a purist in the sense of like, you gotta take everything correctly from the Tolkien appendices and make it work. Like, these people are really working on very small details that were sort of left behind from the Silmarillion, or from even pronouncing that right, and some of the appendices, and trying to kind of make all this work. And I think based off of that alone, I think they're doing some incredible things, honestly. So I'm going to give season 2 a shot also. I was a fan of the first season. I cannot wait to dive back into this world, y'all. But let me know what you guys think of the trailer. Is this your first time checking it out for yourself? What did you guys think? I highly recommend you guys check it out for yourself once again. But that will do it for all of our main topics today. And again, if I missed out on any panels or franchises that you guys are big fans of, I do apologize about that. I really did my best to try and cover as many franchises as I possibly could for you guys on a late basis, because your boy's not feeling well. So I appreciate you guys certainly sticking around for as long as you did. But now I think it is time for...
Now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
All right. And we're going to get into live viewer questions here. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. All right. So live viewer question time. Do I have another one? Yeah, there we go. Go ahead and share the screen. So if you ever want to go ahead and submit a live viewer question over to us, you can at any time, but we usually drop it every Saturday afternoon or evening for you guys. Just go over to our YouTube page, as you see here, click on that community tab. And as you scroll down, you will find a live viewer question post. So let's go ahead and tackle some of these for us tonight before we wrap up today's show. And if the music is too loud, let a brother know, okay? Let me sort this out properly. Newest first. And thank you, everybody, for whoever submitted questions in today. Sorry I'm getting to them kind of late, but better late than never. Peg C, have a couple questions. Have you guys seen the canceled concept of the upgraded Dinozords and Tiger Zords for season 2 of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which never happened? I have not. How much concept is media information is out there about the unordered ZU? Ooh, let me see. Whoa, those are dope. I really dig that. Yeah, that's a bummer, man. That's a bummer. We didn't get a chance to use those. I appreciate you sharing that though, Peg C. Those are pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, can I save this so I can post this up here for you guys? Let me see. Can I? Well, let me save this image. Save image. Yes. Okay. Let me see if I can show you guys. And they say this is unused Zords from how much concept media information is out there about the unused ZU3 footage MMPR season 4. I always think this concept art is extremely interesting, as I think this would have been equally good direction to take the series. Let's pull this up. I'm gonna upload this image so you guys can see it, because I think it's a pretty badass designs. Look at that. Yeah, Pexies, have you seen the cancel concept of the upgraded Dinozords and Tiger Zord for season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which never happened? I'm assuming you mean season 4. I love it. That's a cool, some cool concepts there, Pegsy. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, man. That's pretty badass. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Mark Hamill voicing the Flying Dutchman in the new SpongeBob movie, The Search of SquarePants? I dig it. Anytime Mark Hamill wants to do voice work, I'm all for it. So why not? If you had to choose between owning Batmobiles, which would you choose? The 1989 Batmobile with Michael Keaton, or the 60s Batmobile with Adam West? Give me the 60s Batmobile with Adam West, baby. I used to love watching the Adam West Batman series as a kid. Clearly, I was born in '82, but they used to have the 60s either on Nick at Night, or I can't remember what channel I used to watch them on. But I used to love me some Adam West 1960s Batman. So yeah, give me that Batmobile every day. What do you think of the Sailor Moon franchise ending with the upcoming Netflix movie series? And were you a fan? No, I really was never a fan of Sailor Moon, unfortunately. I recognize them, but I've never really watched Sailor Moon. There was a period when it would maybe come on TV cartoon-wise that I would probably pop it on, seeing Tuxedo Mask and things like that, but I was never really a fan, so I don't really have any feelings towards the Netflix movie series being the end of the franchise like that. Like, that's it? Like, they're not even gonna make any more like anything else in Japan or anything like that? Like, that this is it, huh? Jessica Fryman, do you think the Hasbro should have picked the Super Sentai to adapt instead of trying to reboot the series? And would you like to see Batman and the rest of the Justice League show up in the next season of My Adventures as Superman? I don't know if I want the whole Justice League to pop up in My Adventures as Superman, but I wouldn't mind some of the characters. I personally have not watched the show. That's usually Stewart's bag, so I don't know who's popped up and who hasn't. So I'm kind of curious as to what cameos have actually shown up in My Adventures as Superman. But look, I guess we're getting into season 3 now. I guess I would be open to it. Yeah, why not? Why not? I don't know if he's even referenced his time in Justice League or being a part of the team in his television series or in his animated series, but I wouldn't mind seeing them if they're in that world. Why not? I mean, we're 3 seasons in, right? I mean, I know they've already established Kara. We're clearly going to get a Superboy. I wouldn't mind at least an episode with a Justice League in it. As far as what I think Hasbro should have picked the Super Sentai series instead of trying to adapt, no. I'm a staunch believer that, and look, despite what's happened with Power Rangers at Hasbro, I put a lot of this at the feet of Chris Cox, the CEO. I think had Brian Goldner still been around, we would have already gotten some things about the reboot series already. You know, we would have already gotten a first look, a trailer, or at least casting news. Like, they would have been more headfirst in getting it developed. So I am still a believer that a reboot would have been the best choice, because I want to see Power Rangers made for the 21st century. Like, I wanted to see it caught up with more modern times and today's society. And I do think in the world where, maybe there's some superhero fatigue, I don't really know, but maybe their prime window was like 2 years ago. We probably should have already had a lot of this stuff, but I still believe a reboot of this series was certainly a way to go, and I'm still a big believer of that. I would not mind if I can't get a live action, give me a animated series. I've been saying this for a while. We've been saying it ever since A+ More Phenomenal, the idea of an anthology series, focusing like each episode focus on a different team. Maybe you could build it up to a gigantic sort of shattered grid storyline if you wanted to. But it would be a really great way of holding on to the past lore of the Power Ranger franchise while also doing sort of a rebooted series of something sort of brand new. I don't know what they plan on doing now. Well, I should say Jinsaku has said Netflix's new pitch, or Hasbro's new pitch, is pretty much just to do an MMPR reboot, and that just doesn't appeal to me. But maybe in hindsight for some people, now that it's happened the way that it is, I still personally would rather have a reboot than watch another Super Sentai adaptation. Would I get excited for another adaptation? Yeah, I would, because I do think that there's some great Super Sentai to adapting to do. Do I think it's what's best for Power Rangers though? No, because we're just going to fall back into our niche market, same amount of fans, not pushing any ratings whatsoever. It's still being in the same underdeveloped franchise that we were in. And not really striking opportunity when it matters. And so that's just lack of risk taking for me. So no, I'll stick behind the idea of give me a reboot series over another Super Sentai adaptation any day. Blossom, remember the Beetleborgs costume Forever Red? Do you think it would have made more sense to repaint the costume since fans wouldn't be confused? I don't know if fans were confused originally. I'm trying to remember if I watched that live. I think if anything, Beetleborgs did have probably the more seasons. I'm trying to think of like VR Troopers and Masked Rider. I think Masked Rider was just one and done. I can't remember VR Troopers, how many seasons VR Troopers had. But I don't know if it confused people back in the day. I might have said, oh, that's cool, the Beetleborgs costume, but I don't think it was any point where I was like, wait, they're fighting the Beetleborgs? So I don't think it really mattered too much. Do you remember the Metal Heroes genre, aka where Beetleborgs came from? If they were to revive the genre, what theme for their heroes would you like to see? Wasn't VR Troopers sort of the Metal Heroes too? Or am I tripping? Look, I still want a revival of VR Troopers. Considering the fact of just where we've come with technology and the idea of virtual reality literally being a thing, not just like a concept that was, people thought about years ago when we got stuff like Reboot or VR Troopers. Like with with VR being a legit thing right now, if you were to bring back Metal Heroes, I say, and again, I believe that they were Metal Heroes inspired. If I'm incorrect, let me know. But I still want VR Troopers to come back. I think there would be a market for it. Marcelino, so Adam, why haven't you gone back to finishing Batwoman, especially since Indy and Stewart praised it constantly? So I figured it would spark a little bit of interest in you, and also you made it clear why you quitted certain shows, but you never elaborated on Batwoman. You just said that you were done. So much content, man. Honestly, it's really what it is. Look, the reality of Hero Report and the YouTube channel is there's just a lot of television content out there these days. I got a son, I got a family, I work a full-time job outside of this, right? Like YouTube isn't necessarily it's not my main gig. This is very much like trying to build something into something. And so I just have a lot of responsibilities on my plate, and it's just not a one-man job. This is why we're probably always looking for other content creators that want to join A Plus Hero Report and have a launching pad and help them establish themselves into something bigger if they want to. Maybe opportunities that might arise for them by giving them, the ability to showcase themselves on here. So we're always looking for people to join the team. But there's just so much content out there that I'm just really fascinated in trying to watch. I mean, look, I literally am trying to do a rewatch for House of the Dragon season 1. I want to do another rewatch for the Rings of Power. But when I have a kid that takes up a lot of my time in between work, outside of the time that I do to really develop what I'm doing here, it's really hard to kind of go back to shows that I certainly want to watch. Not to say that I'm completely done with Batwoman. It may take me another 5 years before I actually watch the series. But I do want to finish it. I do want to see how Javicia Leslie wind up doing. So it's not out of spite of the show, like the show did me wrong or I felt some type of way about the show. It's just life, Marcelino, honestly. It's just a lot on my plate, and other things that I do want to watch and try and watch first. And then when you're juggling that with a full-time job and a kid, it's just hard to get to as much stuff as I personally would like to. If I was single, then yeah, man, I would be in front of the television all day just watching whenever I want to, but that's just not the reality of my life. That's all. Joe Mangiello wants to return as Deathstroke, yet James Gunn has insisted to just let it go. I understand that James Gunn wouldn't want to confuse with bringing back a character portrayed by the same actor. What I don't understand is why Joe has to be part of that category. If you combine Joe's screen time, he was less than 5 minutes and never played a major role. It's not like Henry Cavill's Superman or Ben Affleck's Batman or Zachary Levi's Shazam, where they were in multiple films, had tons of screen time, and were given big roles. I do think Joe has a place in the new DCU. Whether or not that's as Deathstroke, who knows? One thing I will say, excuse me here, guys. I'm going to mute this real quick because I do have to blow my nose. One thing I will say is, as somebody that used to be a supporter of Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyderverse crowd really turned me off eventually. And if I could be honest, I don't want James Gunn to give them any ammo to want to be like, oh, if you could bring Joe back as Deathstroke, why can't you bring back Henry Cavill as Superman? Why can't you bring back Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman? And then just want to shit all over James Gunn again for his actions and his choices. Would I love Joe back as Deathstroke? Absolutely, but I can understand the choices as to why you might go a different route with certain characters. Again, I think Joe could probably fit in the DCU somewhere else, but I think James Gunn's plan is to bring back as little Snyderverse actors to play the same role as he possibly can. So we'll see. That's how I would answer that question. I could be wrong, but Venom 3 has released its trailer, and there's one thing that people have been noticing during the trailer. At one, there are 3 people who are on top of a building that's about to collapse who stand out. It involves 2 women, 1 middle-aged and 1 young adult, and 1 boy. People say this is Sony's attempt at making Aunt May, young Peter, and Peter's mom. Everyone's been rolling their eyes and don't want it to be true, but fear it might. And that includes myself. I'm gonna have to check out that trailer again. I haven't seen the trailer since it was released, so I didn't catch that. But I am excited for the film. This is probably the first Venom film I'm actually behind, because the trailer wound up sucking me in. But I didn't catch that. But I'll watch the trailer again, Marcelino. Are you sensing a lot of romance? Doomsday, what's up, Doomsday? Are you sensing a lot of romance between Taya and Shishiro, based on how Shishiro kind of acts around him? Okay, so to be honest, I have not watched Boon Boomger since episode 14, so I'm pretty behind. I have a couple episodes saved on my computer with the 6th Ranger as a part of the team, but I have not watched the series since episode 14. What I will say though is since I started doing my reviews, probably episode 1, maybe episode 2, I kind of called the idea, and I don't know if that's the path that they're going, but it definitely stood out to me. There is some sort of chemistry there. I don't know what their relationship is like. They both clearly seem to be fond of each other. I don't know what that means in regards to friendship. How close are they truly? But there does seem to be some sense of jealousy that Ishiro winds up having whenever Taya kind of gives praise or finds like a new member, right? Not to say that Ishiro is jealous and he feels like he's being pushed to the side, but there does seem to be some sort of vibes that they're certainly giving off, to the point to where if they did end up becoming love interests by the end of this season, it would not surprise me, because I'm getting those shipping vibes very early in the season. And I'm not one that usually like shipping characters. I don't really care for it, but I know it's a thing. But just the vibes that they kind of gave off just meant like their friendship was more than. And I don't know if they're going to explain it. I know they kind of teased how these two characters wind up meeting, but I don't know how it built off, or if these are just sort of like those feelings that are just very much trapped inside, and neither of these characters have really actually let it out. But there feels like there's some sort of vibes there between them. So I'm not, if people are pointing that out, I can see why. Will it amount to anything? That I don't know. With the cast reveal of Doctor Doom, do you think it's nice we started the MC with Downey Jr. and now practically ending the MC with Downey Jr.? One of the things we talked about when we talked about the beginning of this episode, when we discussed Doctor Doom, I did say it does feel very perfect, full circle, if they can really pull this off. Robert Downey Jr. as sort of one of the best heroes in the MCU could now end up potentially being one of the best villains in the MCU. And there's just something really, just really full circle about that. That just really hits me in the sense of like, that's perfection. It's absolute perfection if they can really execute it. So I'm excited for it. Do you think it gets annoying whenever people on the internet say stuff like no one wants more copy rangers when they post? No one wants more copy rangers when they post about Power Rangers? Because I get PR takes footage from Sentai versions. Oh, but I get really annoyed whenever these stupid Sentai purists just hate on PR because it's taking footage from Japan, even though 90% of the time they use that footage while creating their own unique storylines. Plus, sometimes a Power Ranger show can actually be better than the Sentai counterpart. This is why I just rather avoid Super Sentai adaptions altogether. You're always going to have purists about something, and not everything is a copy and paste. I think the closest thing was Samurai. Outside of that, I always feel like everything else has been kind of original, or at least try, look, and that's one of the reasons why I don't care for adapting, because you're very much hindered creatively. Like, you have to tell your stories literally based off of the footage that you have. That is one of the reasons why I appreciated Simon Bennett and his crew and what they were able to do. Even I want to say Jude Law. Jude from that put together Beast Morphers. I can't, his name is like, I'm blanking right now, but from Beast Morphers to Dino Fury to Cosmic Fury to Once and Always, that felt very much like their attempt to use as much minimal Sentai footage as they possibly can to really orchestrate their own creative storylines. And I think that's the route that you have to take if you're going to continue to adapt Super Sentai. So I don't think every Power Ranger show is a copy Ranger. I think that's just Sentai purists being assholes. But yeah. The most talented man in the world. What's up, man? He says, we all know that Back in the Future is one of the best time traveling movies of all time. What doesn't get talked about a lot, at least is not made aware of, was the actor Crispin Glover, aka George McFly, since then has had a huge legal battle with the executive producers of the franchise. For years, he had come out and argued that one of the producers, Bob Gale, used his face in the second Back to the Future film without his consent. That's very interesting, is that Glover and Gale both had different perspectives on how Crispin wasn't brought back to reprise his role as George in the second film. Hale himself argued that he saw George McFly in the second film were a combination of already existing footage from the first film, and then new shots featuring a new actor wearing prosthetics. And that's what I thought. I thought it was a new actor wearing prosthetics to look like him, like the scene of future George hanging upside down. Yeah, that's the scene I remember. And when he was a head mold of Glover that was created during the film of the first film. What do you think of this ongoing lawsuit, and do you think Crispin is telling the truth about his likeness being used, or do you think Bob Gale had every right to use his face? Ironically, this past year we had a nationwide Hollywood strike against the use of AI. So if Glover had returned as George, do you think Back to the Future 2 would have been different if George was on screen the entire time instead of being killed by Biff? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I didn't know he was going through so much legal battle with Back to the Future. I don't know too much about the court case to really understand like the full details. I probably would have to do some like really deep diving and research in regards to it. I don't know if they have like audio tapes of them like explaining the situation with each other. I mean, there is something troubling about the idea of being able to use somebody's likeness with them not there. So to a certain extent, I can understand Crispin Glover's reasoning. I would be fascinated to know what the contract looked like for Bob Gale. If the contract doesn't have anything like that in there, then he should be able to use it how he wants to. But that is kind of crazy, the idea of a Back to the Future kind of being very similar to the battle against the use of AI and people using their likeness without their permission. So if Glover had returned as George, do you think it would have been different if George was on screen the entire time in bed? No, I don't think so. I think they probably still would have went with the same beats, but it just would have been Crispin Glover playing those same beats. But I can see why Crispin would feel some type of way, because at first I thought it was. I remember when I don't want to say when I originally saw it, but I thought it was the same guy at first. But as I got older, I could tell like, oh, that's just really heavy sort of prosthetics kind of being used. But it did look like him, so him being upset that it's his likeness, it doesn't surprise me. Sam, what's up, Sam? Would you like Kamen Rider Dragon Knight reboot movie or series? And what if Stephen Lunsford and Mark Dacascos play the cameo characters, not Kit Taylor and Master Eubulon? I didn't. This is probably a Stuart question. I didn't really watch Dragon Knight, so but you know what? Yeah, why not? Why not? I would like to see a Metal Gear Solid film. Yes. My ideal cast is Aaron Taylor Johnson as Solid Snake, and Jack Black as the End, and Charlize Theron as the boss. Charlize Theron as the boss is a great call. A great call. I love it. I liked Aaron Taylor Johnson in Bullet Train. I am going to have to see how he does in Kraven the Hunter. I haven't really cared for Aaron Taylor Johnson in anything besides Bullet Train. He was okay in Fall Guy, now that I think about it. I did see somebody Photoshop or like did a fan art of Jensen Ackles as Solid Snake, and it looked incredible. So Jensen Ackles will probably be up there for me, just because I literally recently saw him. But thank you for that question. And I would like to see an American TV series Land of the Giants as a remake. Yeah, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that too. And of course, ending off with good old AJ. What's up, AJ? Good to see you back in here, man. May I say that Power Ranger Wild Force, which was my first introduction to the franchise when I was 7 years old, while many fans consider it to be very near adaptation to the counterpart Go Ranger, it didn't. Gal Ranger, I'm probably butchering the name. It did many things better. For instance, unlike Gal Ranger, all the Rangers had actual human names instead of referring to each other by Ranger color. What surprised fans was that it gave two unique team-ups. We had the two-parter reinforcements from the future and the fan favorite Forever Red. Unlike Samurai, all the Rangers had real personalities and careers, which didn't interfere with their Ranger duties and respected each other. Cole basically being Tarzan or George of the Jungle was unique. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Being able to sense if a person had a true heart, even even an org, Master Org being revealed as the murderer of Cole's parents was one of the best and shocking twists in the franchise. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Where he gave up his humanity by becoming Master Org, all because he was jealous of Cole's father, taking the love of his life with Cole's mother and not letting him be successful in their career as archaeologists. To conclude, Wild Force still remains one of the top seasons of Power Rangers, being a hybrid of both classic Saban and Disney eras. It was able to stand on its own compared to Gao Ranger by being more original while retaining its theme and premise. You know, I did enjoy Wild Force when I first watched it, the first watch through that I had. I was in the middle of a second watch through, and it even grew on me even more. So yeah, I don't know where people normally rank Wild Force for them, but it is definitely a series that continues to move up my ranks of Power Rangers the more that I watch it. I do want to finish my second run through, but I was a big fan of Wild Force for sure. Never give up. Never give up. But yeah, guys, that will do it for live viewer questions. Boy, look, let me tell you something. Can I just pat myself on the back real quick? I thought for sure tonight's show was going to go like 3 hours and 30 minutes, y'all. I literally thought it was going to go that long. So the fact that we got through all this under 2 hours, man, I'm put myself on the back, and I'm not feeling well. Somebody give me a gold star next time y'all see me, please. Couple things I'm working on for you guys. I do want to start rolling out a membership tier for the channel. I'm thinking we just wind up getting another YouTube check recently, just over $100, I think. We appreciate your guys' continued support of the channel. We don't have any sponsors or anything like that. We're literally grow off of your guys' support on a weekly basis. So I think that money that we're gonna put towards it, I do want to open up a membership tier for you guys, like a $1 membership tier. You know, we've got grades for our channel, and I think we also want to create some emojis for you guys. I want to create some emojis of me, Indy, and Stuart for you guys, along with emojis of all of our grades that we give out, so that as we're doing reviews, as we're talking about some of these topics, as we're talking about some television shows and movies and stuff, if you guys want to grade it along with us, I think that'd be really fun. If you guys want to have emojis of us doing certain things, you know, maybe that's something that we can kind of look into. But I do want to get some emojis created for the channel for like a $1 tier membership for you guys. I also want to create and work on a moving background for our channel, you know, because right now, like, that's our background. And so, especially when we have 2 or 3 people on camera, I would like to have a background that kind of moves, just some sort of movement and animation to the channel, just to make it look a little bit more higher quality also. So those are 2 things that I'm going to be working on. And I'm also going to try and see if I can get some t-shirt designs. I really want to start some sort of store for the channel. I really love our logo. I think it would look great on different types of merchandise. And so I do want to also try and open up a YouTube store for A+ Hero Report. So yeah, those are just some of the things. I just want to let you guys know that the money that you support a channel with is going towards to help continue to build this up each and every week. So just so you know, it definitely does not go unappreciative. So I definitely do appreciate everything that you guys continue to do for the channel. And again, we only continue to grow because of you guys. So feel free to always like these videos. If you want to take out clips, if you want to download these episodes, if you want to share these episodes, please do. And let people know about A+ Hero Report. If you like our way we critique things, if you like long form reviews, if you like our perspective on things, remember, at the end of the day, these are just simply our A+ opinions, but we always definitely want to know your guys's. If you want to follow us, feel free to follow us on social media right down here at A+ Opinions. Very much active everywhere on social media. Our main hub, not only our YouTube channel, which you should subscribe to, but also our Facebook page where we post all the news and information and trailers and posters all throughout the week that winds up dropping. That's usually where we pull all of our stories to talk with you guys about over on A Plus Hero Report. So stay tuned up there and follow us over on TikTok. We got a TikTok, y'all, at Hero Report, but otherwise at A Plus Opinions everywhere on social media. That's going to do it for me here today. Today is Monday. I don't know what else we're going to be dropping throughout the week. If you're big wrestling fans, WrestleManiacs podcast will be back maybe later on tonight with a Raw review. We got NXT reviews and SmackDown reviews for you guys. And then you can definitely check out our spoiler discussion for Deadpool and Wolverine, hopefully later on this week when I can go ahead and finally catch the film itself. I'll talk to Stuart a little bit more too about his My Adventures of Superman Season 2 review. And then we'll definitely be back next Sunday for a brand new episode of A Plus Hero Report and really any big news or trailers that drop throughout the week. So that will do it for me here, guys. But I'll certainly see you guys later on in the week. In the meantime, do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.